All right, everybody, what's going on? How are we all doing today? We doing good? Oh, shoot, what did I just do? Did something kind of wrong. You guys hear me okay? All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it fast. Barely late. Like, less than 15 minutes. Yeah, Ricky Servin knows what's up. Loki, this is pretty early compared to how late he normally is. I'm trying to do a little bit better. Also, fun fact, I just showed... Okay, 2 hours. Wait, 2 hours? 2 hours? I wasn't 2 hours late. This is like less than 15 minutes late. All right, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Late is late. I agree, Theo Kirby. Nighthawk says I'll play Elden Ring while listening. After this, I might play Bloodborne. I don't know. I'm super tired. Somebody asked how was the mini vacation. Mini vacation was a lot of fun. I am fucking exhausted because I flew back home. I flew back in today. Today was... I just got back. I'm back from the airport. Not literally just got back. I've been back for an hour-ish, basically, but maybe an hour and change, basically. But I flew back in today. All right, everybody, let's get the stream likes up to 100. We are going to do, like, I am ready to sway shocks as it was scheduled before. It was scheduled incorrect scheduling time, basically. That's all I can say. Based on me being, I don't know, stupid. Mr. NK says, tell us some fun stories. Okay, so the most fun story is yesterday, the way that we capped off the little trip, we went to San Diego, was whale watching. And although I did not see any whales, we did see a shit ton of dolphins. And the fun part of it was that this is one of the few times, it was like a relatively smaller boat, right? So this was kind of like the last cool thing to do on our little weekend trip. So it was a relatively smaller boat. I feel like with the bigger ships and everything, you don't get the same sort of feel of like, I don't know, just adventure, because it was a smaller boat, you could really feel the waves and you could really feel like, you know, just going the up and down motion. It was very open, right? Like it was on an open deck and everything like that. You're very close to the water because you're not too high up from the water. And so we saw a shit ton of dolphins, and that was really cool. And like a huge pod of dolphins. We saw pods of dolphins multiple times. And genuinely being out like fairly deep into the open ocean, I feel it. Like I get why the Strahds have so much fun. I've always felt like I loved the water and the you know, just being on boats and stuff like that. I've always loved that, largely because of One Piece, but genuinely getting to go somewhat deep on like a relatively small boat, so it feels more, you know, just like you're in it, right? Bigger ships, not the same feeling, and then there's literally dolphins coming up around the sides of the boat. That was a lot of fun. So I really, really enjoyed that. Also, while we were there, I feel like the tour guide wasn't as good as he could have been, because the tour guide, he's like announcing across, like as we're seeing shit, right? He's announcing from like a broadcast thing that's speaking to everybody on the boat, right? And he's explaining, he's like, I know I've got a couple supers and member stuff to catch up on. Also, let's get stream likes up to 100 real quick. The tour guy, he's like explaining like, oh, what you see are a bunch of common dolphins. So these are like a whole pod of common dolphins. And he kept explaining that what we're seeing are common dolphins. I'm like, motherfucker, why can't you just say dolphins? I feel like I get that they're a type of dolphin. Like the common dolphin is a type of dolphin, right? It is the most common type of dolphin. But for me, like, I feel like when you say common dolphin, it devalues it to some degree. Like, I get that's the official species of it, but if it is the common dolphin, just say dolphins. You don't need to say what you're seeing is the common dolphin. Just say you're seeing the dolphins. When you're saying you're seeing the common dolphin, it feels as though this is like a worthless sort of dolphin. Like, it doesn't matter, you know? And I'm just excited to be seeing the dolphins. So that kind of bothered me, in my opinion. If you're a whale watching tour guide or a dolphin watching tour guide, simple bit of like, I don't know, advice, just even if what the people are seeing is officially labeled a common something, like the common finch or some shit, just call it a finch, just call it a dolphin. That was my only piece of advice. Luckily, towards the final leg of the tour back, as we're heading back to shore, we did run into some bottlenose dolphins. A small, like not really a huge pod, but we ran into some bottlenose dolphins. They're a lot bigger. That was really cool too. So overall, that was just my favorite experience of the whole little 2.5 day vacation basically that I just got to do, and I was really excited about that. But yeah, it just felt like it's like One Piece, like Luffy's traveling the sea and everything like that. And I'm like, fuck, the Strahds get to experience this all the fucking time. That must be nice. Must be nice. Bingle the Oop, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 20 months, man. 15 minutes late is on time when you have all those old ladies walk across the street. That's true. I was late largely because I was helping some old ladies cross the street. It is just generally the reason that I'm late on most days. More often than not, that is what I'm doing, just being a good Samaritan. There's just always these old ladies who are stuck, need to be transported across the street from A to B. I'm the guy that's got to do it. All right, let's catch up real quick on these supers. Real Linskov, thanks a lot. I don't even know which one's the real one or not at this point, but you've got a wrench, so Well, I think I gave him both wrenches. Anyway, hey Morj, I predict we will get a small flashback with a silhouette of Joyboy talking to Emeth. Emeth will be depicted as a kid in one way or another. Okay, that's pretty specific. Okay, hold on. We're getting into it. We're getting into it, right? Let's pull this shit up. All right. Let's get this shit going. Hold on. Everybody calm down. Let's all just calm down a second here. All right. Why do I have so many of these boards that are untitled? I should title this shit, huh? You guys even know what I'm talking about right now. Chapter 1120 predictions. For those of you who don't know how prediction streams work. Here's the gist of him, right? The way prediction streams work. Dear God. All right. The way they work is basically, let me put this shit up here, nice and big, so people understand. How it works. I note chapter predictions must be specific and can't be too generic. By generic, I mean like. Okay, so what Real Linskov just said might be on the. Nah, I get. No, I think that works. I think that's specific. Right? I was gonna say like just getting a Joyboy flashback. I don't know if that's gonna be good enough to make the cut, because like that's kind of on the easier side of things, because the last chapter 1119 ended with us getting some, a bit of dialogue from Joyboy. But I know chapter predictions from viewers. Viewers must be. Hold on. Let's do this in bullet point format. Must be specific and can't be too generic, right? Must be specific, can't be too generic. Winners are shouted out next video. And best, I'm going to say only one person. And best prediction. Best prediction is made mod. So from now on, so all winners are going to be shouted out next video, but only one will be made mod. I think if we make like 4 people mod per, sometimes only one per, like the first time we did chapter predictions, only one person got it right. But then the second time, 3 people got it right. So from here on, how we're going to do it, it's going to be the best predictions. Best predictions get it. Must be specific, can't be too generic, can't take someone else's prediction and just add a twist. Must be a significant addition to that prediction. And if you get it, you trump the previous person. So, for example, right? Let's say somebody made the prediction, next chapter, dragon arrives, okay? That person A, gets to keep that prediction, right? You can't just come in and say, like, next chapter, dragon arrives on a boat. That's not topping the other person's prediction in some significant way, right? You can't just say, next chapter, dragon arrives and he's happy. Or next chapter, dragon arrives and he uses his wind fruit, or something like that. You have to top it in some significant way. If you say, next chapter, dragon arrives and dies, congrats, you've topped it in some significant way. And that means that if you get it right, then that means that your prediction now trumps person A's prediction. So person A will be wiped off the board, right? You're getting that added benefit because you're doing a more bold prediction, basically, and it's less likely to be correct. So that's kind of how we're going to do it, all right? So here's how it works. Can everybody see the way that it works right now? I know I've got stuff to catch up on, so give me a second. Can everybody see this? Can everyone see this? Next B Gamer says next chapter, Dragon says ... Henry Anami says next chapter, dragon arrives and ... All right, so let's get Real Linskov. All right, so Real Linskov says, I wonder if Real Linskov can be one of our first multi-time winners. All right. And now we begin. The people's predictions. And let's make this shit red. All right. Now we're cooking. Fuck. Can I underline this shit? Italicize? Give me an underline. Why is underline not like an obvious option? Whatever. I guess we don't need an underline. No, we do. What am I talking about? It's an underline. How will people know it's important? Jesus fucking Christ. All right, whatever. Just know that this is important. All right, even if I can't actually underline it for some reason. All right, let's get into this shit. All right, Real Linskov. And I'm going to throw in my prediction as well, obviously, as we go. I don't have a strong prediction for next chapter, but I think my prediction is basically going to... I'll tell you guys my prediction in a second. Real Linskov believes that flashback showing Joy Boy talking to Emeth. Emeth is a child in flashback. All right? So that's number one. We got our first guy on the board, Real Linskov. Let me expand this a little bit. There we go. Okay. Bingledy Oop. We covered this. Gerard, thanks for the 5. Less than 15 minutes late. I'm proud of you, Lorge. And Emu recalls back the Gorosei. Okay. Thanks, Gerard. I do like that. Emu recalls back the Gorosei. The Lorax, thank you very much. The Lorax, thanks a lot. Hi, Morj. Hope you had a restful break. It actually wasn't too restful because we were kind of on the go. Like, there was a bit of beach time, but we also we were in San Diego, so we wanted to see a lot. So we saw, like, Balboa Park, Liberty Public Market. We did the whale watching thing. We tried out some restaurants. So it wasn't too restful. So I'm actually trying to crash tonight and hopefully get some good sleep. And we find out why Emeth stormed Marishua. I think that's a good guess. Thanks, Lorex. I think that's very likely because we're gonna find out something more about Emeth, right? And that's the most prominent thing that he did. We find out why Emeth stormed Marishua. People tell me I pronounce Marishua incorrect, but I don't really care to learn the correct way. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Hiyo, thanks for the 5. Predict that Vegapunk will say the Ancient Kingdom's name as the finale to the speech, and we will see everyone's reaction in double spread. I fucking love that one. All right. Hiyo says Vegapunk will say Ancient Kingdom's name. That's a good one. Goomba Boomba, thanks for the 2. Sticking to the self-destruct idea, Emeth explodes. Okay. That fits your name, Goomba Boomba. Emeth explodes. Self-destruct. Let's be specific. Mr. NK, what's up, man? And thank you for being a Yonko team member for 8 months. Prediction, Toki will show up and be name dropped in the next chapter. Okay. Oh, shit, that's a cool prediction, Mr. NK. Toki shows up and is name dropped. Cool. Also, let's get the streamlines up to 100 real quick. I'm just catching up, and then I'm going to give my predictions. Manifest Joe, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 20 months, man. Thank you for the prolonged support. Welcome back, Morj. For my prediction, I think Kuma is going to start waking back up next chapter. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. Manifest Joe, Kuma will start waking back up next chapter. One thing that... Oh, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be recording the Pirate King podcast tomorrow during the day, and so it'll go up Wednesday, which means that tonight is the last day to get your submissions in for the Pirate King podcast. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a podcast where I take all of your guys' questions and I answer them at length in a manner much more thorough and in-depth than usually you would get at in these streams, you know? So anything you're interested in having me talk about, go off on tangents about, One Piece, movies, anime, video games, other manga, etc., you know, that's what the Pirate King podcast is for. So it's that time of the month. Most Pirate King members have gotten their submissions in, but if you would like to get yours in real quick, then now is the time to do so. before the time for submissions for this month closes. And obviously you get access to all the previous podcasts. They're all like an hour to an hour and a half plus long. Akash Panda, good to see you, man. Thanks for the 5. Emith isn't Joyboy's Frankie, he's Joyboy's Pedro. Joyboy told him to act when the time's right, like how Roger told Pedro that everyone gets their chance. Oh, I think that is a really interesting idea, especially because at the Joyboy's final words to Emith at the end of the chapter were like, now's the time or whatever. And Emith seems to be regretting something, so maybe it's something along the lines of not being able to help Joyboy. I also think that maybe, like, I don't know how tight the parallels are going to be. Like, I don't know if Joyboy had a Zoro or a Sanji and things like that. It's kind of like when Odin's scabbards were kind of taking shape and we learned that there's 9 scabbards, like the 9 Straw Hats. I remember a lot of people kind of speculated which scabbard is kind of like Odin's Zoro, and that wasn't really the case. Especially even Kinemon. Kinemon was the de facto, I guess, leader of the Straw Hats, but he was very much a figurehead leader in the sense that he wasn't. I think there were several other scabbards that were stronger than Kinemon and had much better feats and things like that than Kinemon. Kinemon wasn't that impressive of a combatant in the grand scheme of things. So I think that, and like the scabbards as a whole are a very eclectic group. You could try your hardest and you could not go through the scabbards and find parallels to each of the Straw Hats, right? So I wonder if Joyboy's crew is going to be similar to that. Also, I have a long-ass theory breaking down a lot of what we understand of what Joyboy's crew may have actually been like, and something significant as to how Joyboy and his crew's story plays into the story. Like, I have a very big theory on Joyboy's crew coming off of what the revelations we got last chapter that's coming out tomorrow, so watch out for that, because I think it's very, very interesting what we might be shaping up for with the remnants of Joyboy's crew and why they're showing up now at this point in the story. Okay, Akash Panda, I guess I'm just going to put this down as a prediction. It's kind of a prediction, right? JB told Emith to wait. So I'm going to say JB Emith is like JB's Pedro, not like part of his crew, but he joined in... but he waited for his time to act/help. Kind of. It's hard to pencil in. Uwu with a very bold prediction. I don't know if this is happening, man. Uwu says next chapter Stussy dies. Because I mean, I feel like with this arc already, Vegapunk's death, Kuma's very likely to die. Just Stussy dying as well would be fairly extreme for a One Piece arc, you know? Jimmy, thanks for the 5. Next chapter, Luffy in Gear 5th. Wears the Iron Giant like a suit of fire. Oh! Whoa, ho, 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 ho. I love Jimmy's prediction. I'll say this right now. Jimmy, I said that the winner is whoever's prediction was boldest. I feel like Jimmy's might be up there. Up there for most... No, I guess next chapter Stussy dying would be kind of crazy. Even Emu recalling the Gorosei, that'd be very specific. But I like Jimmy's. I think that'd be really cool because I think it's really likely and I think it's very specific. Luffy in Gear 5 wears Emith like armor and fights Gorosei. Because that's what Luffy's been trying to figure out. Like, how do I hurt these fucking Gorosei? And then he sees the Iron Giant do it. And it kind of just, it's a nice click moment. Also, Jimmy, that was your first super. I was wondering because I don't think I've ever seen a super from you before. So, really nice first submission. Thank you. Boise Bird, nice to see you. Thanks for the 2. Any thoughts on new SBS? Best SBS ever. There was a new SBS? Holy shit. There was a new SBS? I saw something going around on Twitter about Fujitora. I've been kind of offline this whole last several days because, you know, just trying to be in vacation mode. There was a new SBS? I want to see the new SBS. All right, we will take a quick break at some point in the stream and read the new SBS. Poco Loco, thanks a lot for joining Pirate King tier. Just get your submission in today. You should see it under community posts basically, and you can just get your submission in, and yeah, I'll answer it as in depth as the when I record the podcast tomorrow. Yeah, and it's big. Arthur posted it all. Okay, cool. I'm gonna read the SBS. Let me read this from Stas Salantive real quick. Happy Canada Day. It's Canada Day. Canada gets a day? Does every country get a day? I know India has it. I think India has an India Day. Is that like 4th of July? Like 4th of July is US Day? Like is this a day that we in other countries are supposed to celebrate Canada? This is a great SBS. Lots of lore. Thanks, Kemaya. Okay, good to know. How's Bloodborne thus far? Okay, so Bloodborne so far, for those of you who don't know, Bloodborne made by the same people who made Elden Ring. It is one of Elden Ring's predecessors and therefore follows a lot of the same gameplay core tenets. It's just not open world. I am loving Bloodborne so far. I just haven't had much time to play it. The last thing that I did was I beat the Cleric Beast, which was extremely difficult, easily the hardest first boss in a FromSoft game ever, period. I don't know how long it took me to beat the Cleric Beast. It was a while. I think if you add it all up, part of it was I didn't understand the vial system that, like, so once you use up your blood vials, I was kind of like, fuck, so I don't really have more blood vials. And then I was like, do I go farm for more blood vials? Like, do I try and go kill people? And so I tried killing people a bit, and I wasn't really picking up any blood vials. So I was like, no, fuck it. I guess the game system is like you're supposed to get your health back yourself, you know, because like you take damage and then you're supposed to attack and then heal. So I was kind of like, maybe I'm just not supposed to really have a lot of heals at all, and I'm just supposed to be like trying to like actually just fight this Cleric Beast with just my bar of health and just keep getting my damage back whenever. And so that became a real pain in the ass for me. I could not beat it the first day I tried. I think overall time I spent trying to beat the Cleric Beast was 2 hours, right? Just in terms of like running to it, fighting, dying, etc. And then at a certain point, there was also a part where like I realized like, no, I probably should just try and farm at least for some of these blood echoes so I can trade with this guy at the Hunter's Dream to buy blood vials and stuff. I realized I could upgrade my weapon and everything like that. So like there was a process of me doing background stuff that you add into the whole thing. So then if you add it all together, the whole total time for me meeting the Cleric Beast to beating the Cleric Beast, it was multiple hours, like more than 2 hours. I don't even know how long, like several hours. So, you know, with these games, like so many times I come in and I'm just like, yeah, I've played Sekiro. I played the previous ones, so I'm going to be ready for this one. So it's going to be, like, I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, but I think it's going to be, you know, I think I'm ready for it. And the Cleric Beast just kicked my ass, man. It kicked my ass for a long-ass time. I thought it was great boss, and I really enjoyed the gameplay of Bloodborne so far. I like that it forces you into this mode of, like, trying to be more aggressive, and but then also, like it's a lot of risk analysis, but, like, adrenaline-based risk analysis of, like, do I go for it now? Do I go for it now? No. Wait. Heal. Don't heal. Just let him whatever. You just got to play good. just got to play good and don't worry about the health you missed. Okay, but now you need the health. You got a window, get some health back and stuff like that. I really, really like the type of gameplay that it forces you into. I also have some thoughts on how that led to Sekiro and kind of the diverging branches of gameplay you can see between Dark Souls to Dark Souls 3 to Elden Ring versus kind of the route that he went with Bloodborne to Sekiro and what might come next. But I'll save that for a more From Software focused section of something at some point, maybe in the stream. I don't know. I'm loving the atmosphere and the layout of Yharnam and everything like that. I think that this is really, really cool. I prefer it to Dark Souls 3's atmosphere so far. I felt like Dark Souls 3 had a very poor beginning. This feels more like a more polished version of the type of atmosphere we were getting in Dark Souls 1. So loving it so far. I'm just not really far into it because I haven't had the time. So hopefully I get to play it more today. Anyway, Mr. NK, thanks for gifting a membership, man. Beat Gamer 99 got a gifted membership. All right. So we got a regular getting a membership. That's cool. I do want to react to that SBS. Let's set a cutoff. I think we'll do we might take a pause from the predictions and do the SBS. Let me get some more predictions in because I do want to read the SBS live. Let me see here. Bingle Deoop, thanks for the 5. Prediction: Kizaru gets a reaction panel after seeing Bonnie as Nika. He decides to help them escape. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna include the final part of it. Kizaru. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Bingle Deoop. Kizaru decides to help them escape. That's the big part. PG24, thanks for the 2. $50 bet. Thought you quit Bloodborne at Mikolash. Oh, $50 bet that you quit Bloodborne at Mikolash. I mean, I've played. I know Bloodborne's very difficult, but I've already beaten Sekiro, Dark Souls 3. I'm not gonna quit in Bloodborne. Although the Cleric Beast was a very new kind of challenge. It just was. I think with these games, at least with Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3, I think I've realized with these games that I'm a bit of a slow learner early on in terms of like getting used to any new game's combat. I think that's just the case for me in general. But then once I kind of get it, then I usually do the second half of the game way, way, way better, if that makes sense. So, like Dark Souls 1, the boss that I struggled the most with was Bell Gargoyles early on. So, like, but that by the time I'm at Artorias, like Artorias, I beat it like 5-6 tries and stuff like that. Like a lot of the later game bosses were like Calamite I beat first try. So I found in Dark Souls a lot of the later game bosses were much easier for me. Sekiro, my hardest challenges were in the mid game. Mid game to some degree, earlier game. I think Tanjiro the Drunkard was maybe my hardest. No, I don't know if that, but that was up there. Maybe Alpha, I forget. But Ishin, I beat like an hour and a half, which really is pretty good time for Ishin. Demon of Hatred, a little bit longer than Ishin, but still one of the easier. Like in the grand scheme of things, I was able to beat the latter game, like end game bosses, much easier than beginning game. End game bosses much easier than like first half bosses. Dark Souls 3, my hardest challenge was the Abyss Watchers. Whereas like, you know, Sister Freed, Midir, Gale, Nameless King, like they still took me a good amount of time, but like, you know, like nothing crazy, if that makes sense. So I was like, I think the learning foundation part for me for any of these games and just getting used to a new combat system and forgetting the old combat system, if I played like a previous version, that's the hardest part for me. But then once I get past that, then usually I'm better at the quote unquote harder bosses later down the line than some of the earlier stuff. That's at least been my experience. So I'm like, yeah, I really struggled with Cleric Beast, but I still believe that by the time I'm towards some of the latter game and DLC bosses, I'll just have the game much down better, and those will be a lot easier for me. So, but I don't think I'll be quitting it in Bloodborne. I don't know. I've heard Orphan of Kos is a very, very difficult boss, though. I've heard about that. Anyway. But I'll take your $50 bet if you want to gift a 50 at some point if I beat Bloodborne. Sean Easton, thanks for the 5. Kaido is the type of dad who uses Conqueror's Haki for his handshake when Yamato brings home a guy. I imagine Kaido beating Ace. That would be funny. Kaido meeting Ace. He would use some Conqueror's Haki. Ace wouldn't be phased. It'd be funny. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Bape124, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for a month. Just make sure to get your submission in. I'm glad that you're enjoying the Pirate King tier. Prediction, Kaku protects Stussy from Lucci. Oh, shit. That would be cool. I love that prediction. That would be such a cool plot point. It would make me care about the Kaku Stussy plot line a lot more. Kaku protects Stussy from Lucci. All right. Real quick, let's get the stream likes to, hold on. Let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. We get the stream likes up to 100, and I'll react to the SBS then. The one thing I saw is that Fujitora, because I saw this on Twitter, Fujitora has a Supreme Great Sword or something like that. BeatGamer99 says Luffy's too strong to be captured. I don't think Luffy's going to get captured here. It just doesn't feel like that type of arc. John678 says Orphan of Kos is DLC. Yeah, I know enough about Bloodborne to know certain things. I know, like, please don't spoil the game for me. Please, 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 please don't. But I'm just going to share the things I kind of know just from seeing things on From Software subreddit, etc. I know. Well, I guess I'll just hold up two fingers. While I'm holding up two fingers, I'm saying Bloodborne spoilers because I'm saying I don't want to be spoiled and I don't want to spoil you guys, right? So while I hold up two fingers, I'm just saying Bloodborne spoilers real quick. I know that in the DLC you've got Maria, right? Lady Maria, I believe Orphan of Kos, and then Ludwig, right? So I know that those bosses are waiting for me there. So I'm excited for that. But okay, 100 likes. All right, let's do it. Where do I find this? Reddit? Would Reddit be best? All right. All right, you guys see this? You guys can see this okay? Yeah, you guys should be able to see this. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, let's see. In Chapter 1100, the warlord that Ace beat, which was being talked about by Kuma and Saint Saturn, what was the... Oh, shit! Wait, they're revealing that? I forgot Ace beat a warlord. Is this going to be some goofy design? Oh, shit! It's a badass design! I thought Oda was going to do one of his trolley designs. Oh, fuck! I wonder what his bounty was. He looks like this. His name is Hanafuda. His hobby is collecting ancient Zoan devil fruits. On what he's scheming behind this remains unknown up to now. Wait, what? So he's still out there? His height is 514 centimeters. Okay. Um. So that's pretty tall, basically. That's like, so 180 is around 6 feet, right? So that's about 18 feet roughly, right? So we're about 18 feet, right? His other name is King of Lizards. Okay, cool. So he's got, I imagine, some Zoan fruit too. I wish Oda would share his bounty. That's sick. I love this design. I'm just surprised that Oda didn't. I guess it's a warlord, so you wouldn't go with like a goofy design. Although, I mean, I think Gecko Moriya's is borderline goofy. I don't know. Prime Gecko Moriya's wasn't though, so I guess that's what matters. Okay, this is what I saw on Twitter. Fujitora's sword is called the Yakuza Kasen. It's a sword stick cane sword and is one of the supreme grade blades. It's a Maito named blade made by Fugetsu Kisabaru from Wano country. I don't actually remember who Kisabaru is. Do we know that? Can anyone clarify? Do we know Kisabaru? Kisabaru? What's beard time? What's someone saying beard time? I don't know what Sentinel Prime means. Let's talk about it. Okay. Oh, Mr. NK, thanks for the 5. Oh, Goomba Boomba, I see you. I'll comment on you in a second. Mr. NK is just providing some context here. Hanafuda definitely worked for Kaido. Okay, everybody. Mr. NK is actually giving some really interesting information here. Hanafuda definitely worked for Kaido because his name is a card game, and he's a collector of ancient zone fruits. Maybe he's the Tobiropo that Drake replaced. Also, maybe Ulti/Page 1 Dad. Here's my thought, actually, real quick, along those lines. So, Kaido's whole crew is, like, filled with Zoan Devil Fruit users, which is very specific, right? Very specific. It's very hard to assemble a crew like that. What if, Leman, I also see your comment. I'll make sure to get you in a second. What if this guy was the collector of Zoan fruits for him? I mean, it's specifically collecting ancient Zoan Devil Fruits, right? That's hard to get your hands on. That is just hard to get your hands on, right? So maybe this guy's job was collecting, like, Kaido hired him out to collect ancient Zoan Devil Fruits for his crew, because that's just the vibe that he liked. That would make a lot of sense. The other thing, so I made a theory talking, like, way back when, talking about, before we knew, like, certain, I made a theory talking about a certain character who I believed had a T-Rex Devil Fruit. Because the T-Rex Devil Fruit is mysteriously missing. The T-Rex is it's the most famous dinosaur. It is the iconic dinosaur, right? It's interesting that the fruit that, like X-Drake has an Allosaurus fruit, right? That seems very specific because the Allosaurus is the slightly lesser known and less flashy brother of the T-Rex, right? In terms of dinosaur, real-world dinosaur lore, right? The Allosaurus is like the less flashy, well-known version of the T-Rex. It's still known, probably the second best known of the, those type of large carnivorous lizard-type dinosaurs, right? So I always thought it was curious that Oda chose to give X-Drake the Allosaurus fruit rather than just straight up the T-Rex fruit. Because why not just give the cooler fruit to X-Drake? And so I assumed that, okay, well, maybe one of the other Tobiropo or somebody else in Kaido's crew has the T-Rex fruit, because that's just the coolest ancient Zoan fruit you could have. It's the iconic one. King of the Lizards, I think T-Rex literally means, unless I'm mistaken, Tyrannosaurus Rex meaning. Does it mean King of the Lizards? Yeah, King of the Tyrant Lizards. Tyrannosaurus Rex means King of the Tyrant Lizards. I would not be surprised if this dude, Hanafuda, had the T-Rex Zoan fruit. I would not be surprised if that's the case. It just makes sense. King of the Lizards, he collects ancient zones. He would likely have the strongest ancient zone for himself, and I wouldn't be surprised if he collects those for Kaido. I think that would make a lot of sense. That tracks. Do we know when Ace beat? Actually, even if we tie even more things together, do we know when Ace beat this guy? Because we know that Ace made his way to Wano and Onigashima, right? Do we think that maybe if Ace beat this guy, that battle might have even happened during Ace's journey to Wano? If this Chichibukai happened to hang around that area. It was 1 year or so back, maybe? I might be mistaken. I think that's interesting. Also, Leman, thanks for the 10. Morj, I've been enjoying the streams on my favorite browser, Internet Explorer, for quite a while now. So the streams have been on time for you, I guess, basically. Your favorite browser, that's a weird Internet Explorer shout out. Just heard about the shoulder, hope it improves soon. Hang in there, man. Okay, I see what you're getting at there, Levan. That's very funny. Levan just lives in an alternate time zone, delayed 10 years or so. Goomba Boomba, thanks for the 5. When you beat the final boss in Bloodborne, you'll automatically go into New Game Plus and lose all bonfires, so make sure you play the DLC beforehand. Oh shit, that's a good call. Because that would be, like, I made sure that I beat the DLC for Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3 before I got to that other shit. So that's a good call. Thank you for the heads up, just to confirm that. You automatically go to... So the way I did in Dark Souls 3, and I kind of liked the way that I did it because it felt correct to me. I beat the final boss, and then I went and did the DLC, and then I came back to that final bonfire because it doesn't automatically end, and then I came back to that final bonfire and then closed the game out. To me, like, story-wise, that kind of made the most sense to me to do it in that order because it felt like you're kind of closing out. Like, the final boss in Dark Souls 3, it's the natural conclusion to everything the main story is doing. So it feels weird almost to do the DLC first, especially because the way the DLC ends... that feels like the true ending to the entire Dark Souls 3 series, more than the actual final boss, right? So I beat the final boss, and then it's like you have a choice that you can make if you go to that bonfire. I'm like, no, I go do the DLC, and that feels like the additional component to the story, at least for me. Plus the bosses and challenges are harder and everything like that. And then it feels like I close out the whole story properly. Then I go back to the bonfire and do my final choice. But it's good to know Bloodborne doesn't really do it like that. If you beat the final boss, you're just game over. So got to do the DLC first. Moving on. Please tell us the name and rank. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big swords guy in terms of like which One Piece blades are which rank. It's like, you know, kind of a fun little novelty knowledge for me, I guess. But I don't really care. So I don't really have much to say there. Like, it's good to know he's just got one of the strongest swords, right? Like, Whitebeard's got... Like, I guess if you're a top tier, then Oda's just going to give you one of the strongest swords. Like, Shanks has a supreme grade. Whitebeard does, stuff like that. Mihawk's the only one with the tippy-top blade. Question. Golden Lion Shiki's finally appeared in the main storyline. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, he has. So this means that the events of the movie Strong World have been officially incorporated in the timeline of the main story. Oh, this is important. Well, you can forcefully incorporate the movie, but if you do that, it won't be that much connected to the main story. However, regarding Strong World, what I think is... that Shiki that existed originally in the main story is the same person used in the movie. Yes, he's in the main story for the start. However, if it wasn't shown in the movie, Shiki wasn't supposed to have eaten the float fruit. I have a self-rule that I won't make a guy that can freely fly and float in the air, so I decided to seal away the float fruit, because it's a manga about pirates. Interesting! But since it was used in the movie, I have to use it now on the original work. Lol, it's true that a strange reverse importation has occurred. That's really interesting. That's actually very funny. He has a rule that freely flying doesn't work, but there's so many characters that essentially can do that. I guess, like, the exceptions, Kaido, Doflamingo, etc., they all have, like, a method to getting about, right? Strings, clouds, things like that. And Shiki would be the exception in that he can just straight up just do it. So that's interesting. I like that Oda's kind of got some principle that he kind of sticks to as a rule there. That's also probably where the infamous Pell line comes from, that there's only 5 that can fly. Because Oda probably really did, from the beginning, want to keep it very, very tight as to how many characters could move about freely through the air. Also, let's get the stream likes to 200 real quick. Hamoud, for those of you who are new dropping into the stream, I promise we're getting back to the reactions and the reaction challenge. I just want to react to the SBS really quick. Probably going to be a little bit longer. Then we'll be getting back to the predictions challenge. So save your predictions. We'll be adding it. Or I guess we can add it now. First time catching stream live. Next chapter. I guess I can alternate back and forth. Why don't I just pull up the whimsical board again right here? Especially because this is your first super. So thank you, Hamuda XP. First time catching stream live. Next chapter, Vegapunk finally drops the bombshell about the world government and zoom in on Kizaru ready to rebel. Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure everything is visibly good here. Is there a way that I can have both up at the same time? Probably not, right? I guess I'll just do a separate tab. Okay, hold on here. Hold on. I want to be able to show everything. We can't show everything, but we can multitask here, right? So while I'm going through the SBS, I'll keep adding the predictions. So thank you for your submission here. And thank you for your first super ever. So Hamuda XP, Vegapunk finally drops the bombshell about the world government. Okay, drops the world government about. Okay, I'm gonna assume drops bombshell about world government being evil. What was my prediction? I had a prediction. I had a certain prediction. I don't remember what it was now. Fuck. I had a prediction that I was coming in hot with at the beginning of the stream. I literally don't remember what it was now. Oh, here's my prediction, because I think nobody's made it yet. Let me double check in terms of... Okay, here's my prediction. Here's Morj's prediction. Morj, me. My prediction revealed that Gorosei don't have DFs. Because can swim. I'm going to say that. That's my prediction. That's the Morj prediction. All right, everyone jot it down. Hold me to that one. Oh, Ace beat him 4 years ago. It was before. Oh, never mind. 4 years ago. No, 4 years ago that tracks kind of, right? Because 2 years ago, that's the time skip, right? So 4 years ago, that tracks. It's about the time that I believe that Ace is hitting the Grand Line. So that kind of makes sense. Check Arthur's timeline, Morj. Okay, we'll check that out after, I think. So I'm not opening up too many different things. Batman for real, thanks for the 5. Yo, Morj, I got some news today. Good news today. So I just want to show some love to my favorite One Piece YouTuber. So here's some money. Oh, shit, man. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. I hope the good news was like a promotion or job related or just something cool like that. But really, thank you very, very, very much. Also read Sakamoto Days. I will read Sakamoto Days. I think I'm maybe not going to continue on Haikyuu. Not because I didn't like it. I think I like and respect Haikyuu now. I probably haven't gotten to any of the good stuff, but I don't think I'm that driven to keep pursuing it. I just wanted to watch it at a point that like I was feeling something kind of feel good or whatever. I think my next thing I'm going to finish is I'm going to finish out Fire Punch and then maybe I'll move on to Vagabond. But Sakamoto Days is also pretty short so far, right? So maybe I try that. I don't know. I got to think about it. I'm supposed to give Vagabond a shot, according to the stream that we did. Daniel Allen, thanks for the 10, for the 5. Do you think Toriyama dropped the ball getting rid of Tails and Great Apes? Like, that was such a fire ability / species detail, just super creative. I don't think he dropped the ball, because I think that what he was trying to, as we progressed through the story, I think he was trying to get Dragon Ball's action more and more tight to human, like, he was getting the concept tighter and tighter of what he really wanted the series to be, right? Because originally it was this very fantastical series with lots of varying elements, magic, Shenron, etc. As he moved further and further, it became more about martial arts. And then it wanted to become more superpowered martial arts with like energy blasts and things like that. And then the Saiyan Saga is kind of the turning point where it's like, okay, we're leaving behind pretty much all the fantastical elements. Not the Saiyan Saga, the Saiyan Saga, Frieza, like that whole storyline. We're leaving behind all the fantastical elements. Earth has magic and fantasy, but really the sci-fi elements of like these superpowered aliens who fight with power levels and energy blasts and things like that. That's the true thing that we're trying to get at. He nixed a lot of the more special abilities that existed in the series the further that they went, so that everybody's fighting in a more similar manner. But that's what he really wanted to write as the essence, like the core type of action that he seemed to enjoy writing in the first place. So it's actually kind of refining the story. The Great Ape transformation is probably the one of the last fantastical type of transformations, and even that's just turning into a big physical brute force type monster. But I think like he just wanted to get it down to really like human to human, like fast pace, flying around, fisticuffs type choreography. And so there was no need for the Great Ape transformation anymore. I'm cool with that because I like almost how pure Dragon Ball's action became by the Frieza saga, by the Cell saga and everything like that. I kind of like how pure it just kind of became in terms of like, if you think of all the shonen action series that exist, period, the one that is most tightly focused on just straight up the vanilla action type, which is fisticuffs, like flying around fisticuffs like action with straightforward energy blast, and nobody really has special abilities. Like there's some special abilities, but the main abilities everybody has are varying types of energy blasts and stuff like that. Dragon Ball is kind of like the core, and then all these other shonen series are inspired by it, and they're forced to diversify with more special abilities and more variety type techniques. But you have Dragon Ball that just exists as this sort of pure distilled concept of just pure pure shonen action, like what the stereotype of what anime action is, right? Flying around, fast-paced martial arts, energy blast, the basics, bare bones, right? So I kind of like that Dragon Ball actually narrowed down to that over time. I feel like the Great Ape was a lingering sort of I guess leftover concept from the olden days where things were more magic based, and I think it just didn't really need a place in the newer Dragon Ball. I think the one thing I would have liked to have seen is it established, I would have liked to have seen the Great Ape form losing in some way, and it being established that the new techniques they have, like Super Saiyan, etc., are more valuable. Because it was kind of like the Great Ape kind of went undefeated by the end of it. The only way to beat it was the cutting off the tail. I know that it wasn't like broken. Like obviously it was established that other characters are much stronger than like Great Ape Vegeta and everything. But I think just as you're progressing to Super Saiyan, etc., is the most important thing. I think having the Great Ape lose would be kind of good at some point. Anyway, moving along. Question. Hello, Odachi-san. Granny Neon said the Empress from 2 generations ago died from falling madly in love, but the Empress from 2 generations ago was Shukiyaku. Why did Granny Neon lie about this? This is a matter of reading comprehension. Oh shit. It's not a lie. What she's referring to in this line, the Empress from 2 generations ago, was talking about the love sickness that she also got. In fact, in the past, the Empress and warriors of this country have always died from the sickness without knowing the true reason. But in the recent years, Granny Neon and the others seem to have avoided death by going overseas. Oh, okay. Wait, let me check one thing real quick. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Because I think I saw somebody speculating. Okay, this post makes sense now because I saw some post with somebody talking about this woman, and I'm guessing that like saying that what if this is Luffy's mom or something like that, and that makes more sense now because I didn't even know that this is from the new SBS. Okay, it's a matter of reading comprehension. That's funny. Okay, so Hancock, current Empress, previous Empress actually died from sickness. Shaki left the island. Gloriosa escaped. I don't think that that's fair to call that reading comprehension because it's not like going. I don't know why going overseas could be construed as the same thing. Like if it's an open knowledge, etc., why going overseas could be construed as the same thing as just dying from the sickness. I feel like this was Oda just being overly dramatic and then just expecting the reader to understand that it's just not true, which I think is kind of unfair. But I don't think it's fair to just be like, this is a matter of reading comprehension. You could just say, like, maybe I wasn't clear. Because in past SBSs, Oda's sometimes been like, I could have been more clear with this or something. Question, draw a man's butt. Sorry, but please draw it kneeling down. Please draw the butt of every male member of Sarad Cruz. I beg of you. No, I will not draw it. I'm not interested. Good on you, Oda. Niall Show, thanks for the 10. You asked King of Lightning and Brago in a top 30 strongest stream. Could Kaido beat Fujitora? I think Kaido beats Fujitora. Now that Fujitora is one of the 12 supreme graded blades, does this upskill Fujitora to contend with him on any Yonko? No, I just think that that's a good sword. He's just got a good sword. I don't think that the blade inherently, I don't think it's about how strong the blade is, you could tell me Green Bull has a supreme grade blade. I wouldn't suddenly be like, oh, he can beat Kaido. So that's just me. I don't think Fujitora is taking Kaido. I'll just say that. I wrote this letter from France, and I want to know how the members of CP9 got promoted in CP0. I wish you good luck. Holy shit, this SBS really is like a treasure trove of interesting little topics. Okay, because of the translation, the Japanese got weird. So they put the message as is. Firstly, let's talk about the CP9, who were defeated at Enies Lobby. Oda's really explaining a lot here. CP9 were defeated at Enies Lobby. CP9 members appeared in the cover story series, the independent report in which they were blamed by their chief Spandam with the sin of mission failure, in which they decided to vanish somewhere else. Okay. They're training, that's how they're training to get stronger started. I like that. On the other hand, for some reason, due to the authority of Spandine, Spandam's father, he got promoted as chief of CP0. Okay, so Spandam got promoted to the chief of CP0. From here, Lucci and the others uncovered the invasion crime plot that the Underworld Big Shot and former Level 6 prisoners were scheming with Spandine and crushed... Whoa! So some... What the fuck? This sounds really interesting. So this was just all shit that just happened. Oh my god. This is all just shit that just happened, supposedly in the background, and we never really found out. They crushed those organizations to prevent it. Lucci and the others were reinstated as agents of CP0. Spandine is on his sickbed, lost all his authority, and Spandine became Lucci's underling. That's really fucking cool to hear. But it's one of those, like, not only did we not ever really get to find out much at all about any of the level 6 prisoners that escaped, it's just like, for such an interesting plot to have happened around them, you could have at least, this is something that I think at least could have sounded juicy if thrown into the context of the real One Piece story. Like, you don't even need to explain it much. It could be like the Rocky Port incident, but this is just, it feels so, I don't like that. I personally don't like that. I think it's cool as a concept, but to me, it's just like, throw that flavor into the story, you know? Like, even just hearing about certain random interesting things, like when Brule was explaining to Luffy and Nami that, hey, the Straw Hats, you're not the first ones to reach Whole Cake Island. Urouge did, Capone Beige did, Kid did. She was listing off the characters that had made it there and the ones who had lost, who had failed, etc. I think we don't ever need to see Urouge fighting Snack or anything like that, but just hearing little tidbits of these things that have happened in the background, I think that's really interesting. Throwing in an SBS feels kind of sad for me. It's cool to find out, though, because it's just, we really wanted some juice out of the level 6 prisoners. Just find out something about what happened to them, and turns out it was this. There was an invasion plot. Sounds really fucking interesting, honestly. The CP8 member Alpha, is she a relative of Khalifa? I never thought about that. Also, CP9 is an organization not known to the public, but is CP0 known publicly. Alpha is Khalifa's younger sister. Oh, okay. Among the members of CP9 from 22 years ago, we saw Lasky. He is the father of these two. Lot of nepotism in CP9. Basically, Cypher Paul raises kids with no kin relations for them to become excellent intelligence cases, so their case is a rare one. Never mind, I guess not a lot of nepotism. In reality, they were individually raised apart from each other with almost no familial connections at all. That's because emotion can become a weakness in their world. So that's why the Kaku Stussy stuff is so interesting, huh? Question note, and they became really tight, honestly, post. Like, even Lucci likes Kaku now, right? They became tight post their defeat at Enies Lobby. Leonardo Martinez says this could be a cool light novel. Yeah, I think that would have been amazing. Like, a lot of this information here, this is a really amazing SBS. It's just, it's how to explain? There's a line with the SBSs where it's like, oh, this was too boring, not interesting. And then, so there's one line here which is like, if it's past this, it's like too boring, not interesting. And then if it's past this, it's like, okay, that's too interesting. This should be in the fucking story. For example, Kid's backstory, Zora's backstory, stuff like that. Kid's might have been a Vivre card, I forget, but Zora's like stuff like that. And then there's this juicy middle where it's like, this is perfect SBS information. So I think most of this stuff that we're getting right here is perfect, juicy SBS information. Lucci and the CP0 invasion plot, I think that's the only thing here. Hanafuda, that dude at the beginning, that's the perfect example of like SBS information because it's something that we got teased in the story. Ace took out a Shichibukai, and Oda, there's not enough time to flesh it out in the story itself, but Oda drops in information that allows us to connect the dots. CP9 and CP0 story, we were just left open-ended as to what happened with these former level 6 prisoners that at the end of pre-time skip, Oda was kind of building up as a big deal. It was actually one of those things that was talked about, like, what happens with level 6? Like, that was a talking point in the story itself. Characters brought that up. So, there's no mention of anything happening with the level 6 prisoners, and then we just find out in SBS that that's what happened. To me, if there was some mention of it, and then this SBS fleshed out a little bit, I would have enjoyed it more, because it's just, it makes the world feel more alive, you know, when you're reading the story and you find out little things, like, Ace took out the Shichibukai, oh, Urouge made it over to Whole Cake Island, and he actually got past the Sweet Commander, you know? The former level 6 prisoners, a lot of them attempted an invasion plot that Lucci and them stopped, or that was intercepted by CP9 or something like that. Just hearing stuff like that makes the world feel more alive. That's something that can easily be slipped into the story, and then the SBS can expound upon it. But it takes almost nothing to just slip it into the story for a line of dialogue, you know what I mean? Um, but so far, this SBS has been perfect. It's been in the meaty middle section of like the perfect type of interesting information we want in the SBS. I think the Lucci CP9 stuff is the only stuff that I'm like, man, that really, you couldn't have thrown in one line of dialogue into the story about that at least. All right, question, Oda Sensei. The only places where Kuma's pop ability can fly you to are limited only to the places where Kuma personally visited? Question mark. Yes, that's right, because in the past, Kuma traveled around the world. I love that, and I dropped a video talking about the genius of how Kuma chose the locations for the Straw Hat. So he's really drawing upon his whole life and his life experiences to pick those out. Growth Stonks, thanks for the 5. The red line was originally green, hinted in chapter 470 and Enel's cover story with multiple green snakes. Nami said that the red line is made of interlocking islands. What? I know the green snakes you're talking about, but I think that's a bit of a jump to say that the red line was originally green. What would that mean then, that the red line turned red? That's interesting, but I don't know if the red line is... I took the green snakes to symbolize sea kings. Question. Bonnie's devil fruit is the age fruit, which makes her an age manipulation human, right? Does this mean if she keeps on maintaining their age young, they won't be able to die? Oda says, so that's what you think about it. But in chapter 1072, Bonnie says this. When it comes to living things, the effectivity won't last forever. So at some points, the effect will be undone. Yeah, this is one of those things where Oda shouldn't have to explain in SBS because it's already in the story pretty plain and clear, right? I think, like, the Empress thing, I think it's good that Oda expanded on it, but this is not, this is just a waste of an SBS question by somebody. Question, chapter 1096, one of the two boys who threw bricks at Kuma wore a cowboy hat and has freckles. He has the same look as one of the members of Bonnie's pirate crew. Are they perhaps the same person? Oda says each one of them appeared in the Sorbet Kingdom. Also, each of them is depicted to have a crush on Ginny, meaning Bonnie's pirate crew is originally made up of Kuma's friends, who were also strong fishermen who watched over Bonnie's growth. They will protect Bonnie wholeheartedly like she's their own daughter. I like this because this is stuff that we can tell and infer from the story, but Oda is expounding on it. Currently, Bonnie was captured by Akainu and escaped afterwards. Okay, we got a timeline here. Without joining with Yu-Gi-Oh! And the others, she went alone to find her father. Went to see her father in Marijoa, we saw that. Escaped on the ship of Tajin, saw that. Infiltrated a government ship, got close to Egghead and shipwreck, got rescued by Luffy and the others. I'm gonna kill Vegapunk, this is how it went down. Yeah, we pretty much knew this was Bonnie's story. It's just nice to see Oda, like, factually confirm that this is how it all pieces together. Which means that she survived 2 years. 2 years in the New World solo, and straight up got to Marijoa, which is fucking insane. The reason why Marcus Mars is almost never sitting down during Gorosei meetings is because he always forgets his homework, so he's punished like a student would by standing in a hallway. I actually really, really love that. That's fucking hilarious. That's really fucking funny. Review for the Vega Cola. The moment you drink it, as the pungent feeling of ginger hits in and the aroma of apples and lemons spreads through your mouth, the ashwagandha, I've yet to try that, and ginkgo leaf extract activate your brain so much the ideas won't stop rushing out. All right, I like that little bit of flavor. Ha ha ha, double meaning, right? But I like that flavor that Oda added to that. This was a phenomenal SBS. I think my favorite tidbit is still the first one, the Hanafuda story, just because I feel like you can really fit it in with, like, you could headcanon some stuff with how it fits in with Kaido and stuff like that. I definitely think that he's got the T-Rex fruit. I mean, he's king of lizards. T-Rex is the most famous ancient Zoan. Obviously, it's perfect. I love the idea that Ace beat the T-Rex fruit user. And I would have to look at timeline shit again, but I would also really like the idea that this happened around the same time Ace did his trip to Onigashima. It would not be the first Shichibukai that Kaido has done dealings with. I love this shit. This is awesome. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 150 real quick. We are moving back to the predictions, chapter predictions. Javante Santiago says, fool's hope, but it would be cool if the remake added extra information from the SBS. I don't think the remake will do that. I think the remake will probably just make things tighter and tighter, which means that, see, it's kind of the opposite, right? Because the original we're reading right now, this anime has the highest incentive for adding outside information. It can adapt cover stories, Vivre card information, light novel stuff. Like, it can adapt all the exterior stuff, SBS information as well. It can do that, but it chooses not to. It chooses instead to take take what we have and stretch it as much as possible. From what I've heard of, this is largely because how do I say this? the Japanese audience don't really care for watching One Piece episodes when the Straw Hat crew is not involved. That's at least the story that I've heard, right? You never know if that's true or not, but that's at least what the people say. So, with that in mind, it's kind of just like, all right, so the original that has all this extra material to pull on, to draw from, to potentially create some filler that would pad out the pacing a little bit better than it does, rather than to show a pacifista approaching Luffy for 45 minutes, they choose not to do that, right? This new remake that they're making, the idea is that it should be as tight as possible, right? The most cleanly paced version of One Piece imaginable. So I feel like the remake really doesn't need to do anything like it. I think it's unlikely that the remake will be doing stuff like that. I would love to see if like the remake is willing to maybe do, cover some cover stories and everything like that, but it's just the flips, like they wouldn't need to. It would be purely to enhance the quality of the overall story by including cover stories and everything like that. But in terms of how they're pacing themselves out, they don't need to be drawing on that sort of stuff. Whereas the original, that desperately does need to be drawing from, external materials, it chooses not to. Chino Alabachi says Hanafuda is pretty cool looking. Yeah, Hanafuda is awesome. Void says Hanafuda already better than Moria. Yeah, I agree. Which Shichibuka? Oh yeah, Kuma replaced Hanafuda, obviously. Ichi says LMAO Marcus Mars. I think that's really funny that Mars is always standing because of that. That's like an Oda reason. It's one of those where if you included it into the story itself, it would devalue Mars a little bit, but it's the little factual headcanon that we, the reader, know that makes it funny and doesn't affect the tone when Mars is on screen. Akash Panda says maybe the remake will have OVAs. Yeah, that would be cool too. I just think that I don't know, the remake has I think the remake, I'm trying not to get my hopes for it overall too much, but I like to think that it's just going to aim for the maximum quality possible. That's all I could say. So all the things that you can expect from traditional seasonal anime, I hope that the remake is kind of like that. Jacob Regala says the Sunny makes it out to sea. Where's the Sunny right now? Can anyone tell me where the Sunny is right now? Void says if WIT adapts the entirety of One Piece, it'd be at least 8 years to finish. I figure more so, right? More than 8 years? Because, I mean, other seasonal anime that come out, that are much shorter than One Piece, they can stretch like 5 years. Like, just to get a single season out takes a year and a half or something, Unless WIT is going to be going really, really hard on it, because, like, Netflix and all that stuff. Fidju says they need to adapt the NL cover story, please. Some stuff is just so fundamentally important that it feels like they should adapt it, Like, cover story stuff is so important. But at the same time, yeah, maybe those could be OVAs. I don't know. It's hard to say. Ooh, thanks for the 2. Maybe Hanafuda is father of Page 1 and Ulti. Is there any signs that he's the father of Page 1 and Ulti? Is there anything that's based off of? Anybody got? Oh, wait. I don't know. I'm typing that. Hanafuda is the father of Page 1 and Ulti. Anyone got any any reasons for why that would be? Is it just the look, the visual appearance? I could see maybe the visual appearance. I don't know. It's hard to say. Is he an Oni even? It's hard to tell. Page 1 and Ulti aren't Onis though, right? They're just wearing the hats. No, Ulti's an Oni, right? She's got horns. Gabriel Chavez says, I thought it was still up on the dome. Okay. Wait, then who said? Jacob Regala says the Sunny makes that to see. No, that's too easy. I think that's not big enough a deal. Because we're going with not generic, right? That's not big enough of a deal, I think. I'm not going to put that one. Supersonic Squad, thanks for the 5. What if the Elders falls in the sea and everyone's shocked to learn they're unaffected by the water? So, I like your prediction, but unfortunately, I've already got it. This was the Morj prediction. It was the most recent one. Me revealed that Gorsei don't have devil fruits because they can swim. Because, again, at the end of last chapter, what we saw was basically, we saw Warkiri taking what looks like, previous chapter. One more chapter. If we go to this chapter, right, it looks like Warkiri is damn near gonna fall in the ocean. See, Warkiri took a leap right here. He takes a leap, and some people last chapter said that it looks like he could just be jumping straight into the ocean and therefore doesn't fear the water. I said this might just be Oda framing it kind of poorly, and we're supposed to take it as he's trying to jump onto the boat, and it was just poor framing. However, he does get hit right here. So if he falls into the sea, then we got a situation where we're going to find out something significant about the Gorosei, you know? Akash Panda says, Oda said page 1, and Ulti's father was Kaido's acquaintance. Holy shit, this would be really fucking interesting. Because the storyline that seems to be taking shape for Hanafuda right here that I think is interesting is, I think, Ancient Zone Fruit Collector, who worked with Kaido, similar to Doflamingo, to give him Ancient Zoans. He has the strongest one for himself, the T-Rex Fruit. Likely the father of Ulti in page 1, who got drafted into the Topi-Roppa themselves. And, you know, when Ace makes his journey over to Wano/Onigashima, he does fight this guy, runs into this guy, defeats this guy. I think we've got a really cool little story that just developed for this dude. I think that's very, very possible. Tom, thanks for the 5. Prediction: Vegapunk tail ends the message by reiterating that the One Piece is real, and he predicts that it will be found very soon. Bonus: we see Enel or Yuruj. I'm not gonna say we're not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna add this to the rules. To the rules, can't include reaction shots. So no reaction shots included, just because it's too many possible predictions that come out of that you can we could just turn this into a long list of things like see Dragon react, see Beppo react, see NL react, things like that. All right, so can't include reaction shots, can't include just getting a shot of some character, right? But we can include from Tom Vegapunk ends message by saying One Piece is real and will be found soon. I will still never understand the One Piece is real memes, personally. Void says, Morj, would love to see a Blackbeard video from you like Blackbeard's plan. I dropped a video somewhat recently in the last several months or so talking about Blackbeard's plan to take over the world just came together. So check that one out. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Ender Anami says reaction shots are a free space though. Yeah. Akash Panda says, I don't believe that theory because Ulti and Page 1's dad died long ago and they grew up with Kaido's crew. Hanafuda was alive till 4 years. Is it established that their dad died long ago? Because I could easily see Hanafuda just dropping them off by being a bad father. I also don't think Hanafuda is an Oni, right? So I don't know if that's the case. I don't think he's an Oni. Just a cool design. So that means that the Shichibukai were... Yeah, just everyone except Kuma, basically. Kuma's the most recent Shichibukai. New X7, thanks for the 5. Sorry I'm late, beat from work. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope this stream can help you relax a little bit. Page 1 and Ulti's father died when they were children and Kaido took them in. Ace became a pirate less than 5 years ago. Yeah, so it just doesn't work. You're right. But I do think the other things line up. I do think that him working with Kaido lines up. I do think Ace running into him and defeating him, potentially during his trip to Onigashima, lines up. I think all those things could make a lot of sense. So I'm sticking with that headcanon. Gervonta Santiago says cover story is definitely important. Hate that they stopped that. I mean, it is very, very possible that they stopped that just because they found that, because they found that it didn't get good viewership. And I can definitely imagine that because, when we all caught up on the One Piece anime, right? Not all of us, but most of us are One Piece anime people who caught up, right? Not, at least watched a lot of the anime before switching to manga. That's a lot of us, right? And with that in mind, I remember the episode that was Buggy and Gaimon. That was a fun, cute little episode, but I could definitely imagine, it wasn't one of the more exciting epissodes for me, I just remember it as something that happened. But I could definitely imagine along those lines why Toei likely recognized that, hey, these cover stories, they're not exactly doing numbers in terms of viewership. When the people turn on an episode and they find out that, hey, today we're not following the Straw Pirates or watching some random shit about Buggy and Gaimon, they turn it off. I think it's possible that what the SBSs or what the Toei failed to recognize is that the SBSs over time can get really, really fucking interesting. Because, for example, if there's a One Piece chapter where we're getting a bunch of shots of different characters across the world, right, doing different things, that's a cool episode, right? That's an exciting episode that people will want to watch, right? Characters reacting to Strahd's bounties or just getting shots of what different characters are preparing across the world, things like that. Those are good-ass chapters that people like. So if you were to give the equivalent, there are cover stories that are happening nowadays that are what do you call it? Like the Straw Hat Grand Fleet backstories or something. Those are cool little backstories that cover certain interesting things, like Bartholomew burning Shanks's flag, or showcasing, just getting to find out how like Hadrudin is creating the new giant pirates and things like that. Those are interesting. Like that's the same as essentially when in the real story we're cutting away to other characters to find out what's going on with them. That happens in the real story as well. It's just rarer. So I feel like Toei at some point must have made some blanket decision, which was like the cover stories are too boring. Or they just made the decision that the cover stories are not good enough for viewership for us to keep doing them, without taking into account that some cover stories get really interesting and people will really, really like to watch them. So I don't know. I think they might have just made a cover like a blanket decision that wasn't a smart one, in my opinion. K Maya, thanks for the 5. Hanafudo is the name of a Japanese card game, so I think your speculation is right. Oda adjusted timelines before, like Sukiyaki's age. He adjusted Sukiyaki's age? I did not know that. Yeah, Jody List says, I'm 10 minutes behind right now, but I have to rewatch several times. SBS is filled with many paragraphs of Bonnie. Yeah, I mean, Bonnie's just important character. I think that some of the things that were clarified here are kind of silly about Bonnie, because both how the age fruit works, it's already explained, and Bonnie's timeline, we can already see it. We see it play out in the story. I like how even though this SBS is like a lot of important information, Oda still includes like dumbass questions like draw man's butt. Julian says, I'm gonna headcanon that Hanafuda is just Kaido's Bartolomeo. That's really funny. Sean Easton, thanks for the 5. Prediction: Vegapunk starts saying something Imu doesn't want to be said. Wait, I had a random thought. Hold on, let me read your Sean Easton in a second. Is Carabo like Blackbeard's Bartolomeo? Right? Is it the same thing? What if we see Carabo versus Bartolomeo in the end game? Because Carabo is a big Blackbeard fan too, right? As far as we know, and really wanted to share information. He never said Blackbeard specifically, but he was excited to like meet Blackbeard and share his information with him. Is Carabo just a Bartolomeo fan? That'd be hilarious. Sean Easton, thank you for the 5. Prediction: Vegapunk starts saying something Imu doesn't want to be said. Ega gets a Luciad, Kizaru intercepts. Okay, I'm going to start by saying, because Imu already didn't want anything that's been said to be said, right? So let's throw in Egghead gets Luciad. Okay. So Bingle Dupe already said Kizaru decides to help them escape, but this is distinct enough, right? This is Kizaru helps stop Imu's nuke attack, basically. So this is more specific. So either you're right and you get the points over Bingle Dupe, or you made a more bold prediction, so you just end up being wrong, basically. That's the two ways that this plays out. New X7, and we're gonna have to make a new column in a second. Thank you for the 20, man. Holy shit. Thank you so much. What did you think? I appreciate the support. What did you think of Demon Slayer's latest episode and announcement of movie trilogy? Announcement of movie trilogy? Oh, man. That's what a lot of people are kind of saying might happen, and there were some rumors of that, but I don't really want that to be the case. I enjoy watching like a season of Demon Slayer play out. Like for me, my favorite part of Demon Slayer, the anime that period, is the entertainment district arc. I think that's my favorite Demon Slayer section of storytelling, and I think that I really enjoy that because we really get to take our time with it, It's a very, very long, drawn-out sort of storyline with a very slow sort of setup that is like almost a little bit mystery and horror themed, and that scales into something really, really epic. Movie, I guess you can do the same thing because it's a trilogy, so it'll span that. What's the details? So I did not watch the latest Demon Slayer episode because I was this weekend I was basically out of town on my little mini vacation, Saturday, Sunday, end of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I was on my little mini vacation, did not watch Demon Slayer. I'll probably watch it tomorrow or something like that. If successful, I don't see any excuse for not making a series of movies for One Piece about other characters to build the world lore. Dude, I mean, not seeing any making a series of movies for One Piece and other characters. I mean, One Piece does put out movies, right? But they're never canon movies. So I just don't know if Toei's ever going to do that. My understanding, my assumption, I don't know how the money works, right? Because Demon Slayer in the first place is seasonal, so it must have recognized that its movies make it more money overall than spreading its anime out across a long season. It must have recognized that at some point. At the same time, I think that might just be possible because season 3 was a slower season in terms of actual events that happened. Maybe Mugen Train was just that successful that they recognized that, hey, it's just smarter to do the movies. I don't know. So every one of these like corporation studios, etc., like they're making decisions based on cost benefit analysis, which is like what will make us the most money out of these things, right? So that's why season 4 of Demon Slayer that just came out was generally very, very slow and had very little stuff, and they're okay with that because they're like, well, we're going to put out these movies that people are going to go nuts for and spend a lot of money on, right? So with One Piece, Toei's not seasonal. It's not seasonal, right? So Toei, it seems like it makes the most money. If seasonal was more beneficial for Toei, then it would gravitate towards. It seems as though Toei recognizes that putting out, like, it's the opposite, right? Demon Slayer, whatever their studios recognize, most likely that putting out a really, really fucking high quality, well produced product in shorter increments, like shorter seasons, is better for them than if it's weekly. And if we really, really ramp it up and put it really more short, like really, really tight into one package, like a movie or a few movies, that's going to get us the most money. One Piece, it's the total other end of the spectrum, right? Where it's like weekly gets us the most money, and like really taking the content and stretching it out as much as possible gets the most money. Likely because One Piece's appeal, like One Piece is so ingrained in the culture and people love One Piece so much, they're going to watch One Piece generally no matter what, right? Demon Slayer was not popular before the anime, period. It just wasn't, right? Demon Slayer got popular because the anime is putting out such a highly produced product. One Piece is already the best-selling manga in Japan, right? People will tune in to watch the One Piece anime. So the One Piece anime can stretch and stretch and stretch. The One Piece anime has no incentive to be like, you know what? Instead of stretching Egghead Island out over 5 years, why don't we, not 5 years, you know what I mean? Like, instead of stretching Egghead Island out over like 2.5 years or something and get money each week through viewership, what if we just made like 2 back-to-back really, really high-quality, high-effort movies or something? There's no incentive for them to do that because they've already realized that they make the most money. Like, these studios, their goal is to make money, right? They make the most money just stretching it out because One Piece will just get naturally very, very high viewership, even if not a ton is happening episode to episode. That's not to say they don't have really good spurts of animation here and there. They obviously do. You guys showed me a really good clip. I'm just talking generally why One Piece has no incentive to switch to a movie format like you're saying Demon Slayer does. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't know why they don't do more canon movies, though. Like, Film Red was, like, if you're going to do a movie on Shanks and something or something like that, why not make it canon, you know? Because that will make more money than just doing a not. I guess Oda would have to work on it, and he doesn't have the time to do that. Cheesy Skull, welcome to the Yonko. Thank you very much for joining. I really, really appreciate the support. There is the Pirate King podcast going on right now. Submissions are closing today, so if you're interested in getting the Pirate King podcast, you could consider trying out that tier just for the month or something. If you enjoy it, then you could, continue. But you get access to a shit ton of podcasts. I answer your questions very, very in-depth on One Piece, anime, manga, video games, movies, etc. Very in-depth. Hour to hour and a half long podcast if you want to check that out. But if you just want to do the Yonko tier, that is great as well because you get a weekly podcast as well. And that's going to come out every Friday. So check that out as well. Thank you very much for the support, Cheesy Skull. Mr. NK, thanks for the 2. Hanafuda could still be the TR that Drake replaced. Yeah, I think that Hanafuda is a T-Rex Zoan, and I do think that Drake replacing him makes sense because it's like Allosaurus is like, again, for Dino fans, Allosaurus is kind of like T-Rex's baby brother in a sense, if you want to think about it like that. Oh, everybody else is noticing Caribou's the Bartolomeo? Maybe we've talked about this before, but I kind of forgot mentally. I'm sorry. Akash Panda says increase screen brightness? Has that ever been a problem? How do I even do that? I don't think that's a doable thing. I don't know if you can just... Okay. Increase screen brightness. This is actually burning my eyes now. I don't know about this. This hurts my eyes. Are you sure? How does... This hurts my eyes. I'm going to keep it here. I got to scale this shit back a little bit. I'm sorry. I did not watch the Demon Slayer finale though. Yeah, I know they double dip. I know Demon Slayer double dips, so like they'll do the movie and the like Mugen Train movie and then put it out in the anime as a season, etc. Newx7, thanks for the 2. Emith calls Luffy Joy Boy, and Luffy's like who? Oh, I see. Bonnie-chan, Joy Boy, and you're saying this question mark moment? I don't know if that's. I don't know if Luffy's I think we're not. I'm not certain if Luffy's literally responding or just seeing this giant robot popping out. You know. I'm also curious why this arc is so giant focused, because like the giants show up, but then also this giant robot is like a big part of it. I don't know. I'm sure it plays into. I'm sure the ideas will come together in a way, but I do think that is interesting. Yeah, I don't know if Luffy's literally responding to Emith's thoughts here. I think it could just be a reaction shot with like, you know, Luffy seeing a giant robot pop up. Uwu, thanks for the 2. Who's winning tonight, Morgenio? USA or Uruguay? Is the USA good at soccer now or something? Am I stupid? Is Messi on Team USA now? Can anyone confirm for me? Is Messi on USA now? Increase stream brightness on OBS? I don't even know how to do that. Okay, let's see. Oh, are you saying... Oh, shit. Okay, maybe the opacity is really bad. Hold on, thank you. Oh, shit. You guys had to watch that the entire time? What? I am so sorry. Holy shit. You guys were watching that the entire time? I don't even know what to say. That is terrible. Oh my god. Dimian writes as lol, Messi can't be on Team USA because he's not from here. Yeah, but he's... Oh, I see. Oh, okay, I get it now. Kind of. So it's actual USA players, not just players that are in the US. Kind of like... I get it. It's the same way Giannis can't play. Okay. That makes sense. Been trying to tell you since the start of the stream. Damn, I can actually see Dunce-Cap. You guys need to complain harder. Holy shit. What the hell? I'm so sorry. You guys were just... What were you even looking at? You're looking at this shit like fucking... Like half opacity? Like what? Like transparent text? What was this? Oh my god. I'll say the US will win because I'm from the US. Oh my god. What the hell? This is... Oh my god. I cannot tell you how frustrated I would be if I was watching someone stream and they just had the entire display basically transparent. I cannot believe you guys powered through that. First of all, hats off to you guys. Second of all, let's get the stream likes to 200 because we can see it now, right? That's gotta get like that. We gotta bump up the likes for at least being for visibility, right? Holy shit. What the hell? It was just half. Oh my god, that's crazy. You know, no one could have prevented this, but I'm glad that we were able to fix this in the end. Yeah, I'm gonna say USA wins because, you know, Team USA. I guess I have to be by default. Old Faithful, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 14 months. Hey Morj, prediction: Kuma saves Luffy from some Gorosei attack. Okay, wait, and what was Newx7's prediction? Hold on, Newx7 had one. Is this a prediction of yours, Newx7, or are you saying that this happened in the chapter? While we wait for Newx7 to elaborate on that, let's get Uwu's. Oh, no, not Uwu. Sorry. Old Faithful. Oh my god, I can't believe you guys watched all that. Thank you very much for sticking with this stream. Kuma saves Luffy from Gorosei. Okay. So you think Kuma gets back in the action? We're going to restart this over here. I forget exactly what size it was. Might be red. Oh shit, come on. Alright. Continuing over here. Shafisi 9000, thanks a lot. Emith loses easily again after that one punch. That would be hilarious. I don't know if that's going to happen. I could see Emith losing. I just don't know about easily. But it would be really funny if Emith just comes back for one heroic punch and then just loses again. Emith loses easily again. I'll just put that. That's funny. All right, we're starting column 2 here. New X7, thanks for 2. My previous comment was a prediction for next chapter. Okay. So New X7 clarified. Thank you very much. New X7. Emith says Joy Boy. What is this exactly? Emith says Joy Boy and Luffy's like, who? All right. Okay. I'm still mind blown about the stream opacity. Tom says, is Brawny kind of like Yamato if she obeyed Kaido? Okay, this is Brawny James, reference to LeBron James' son, who is now going to be playing with LeBron. Is Brawny kind of like Yamato if she obeyed Kaido? No. Brawny is more like Moscato. More like Charlotte Moscato if Charlotte Moscato was Big Mom's only crewmate. Yeah. And that's... I hope the best for Brawny. I really hope he does well. I hope that this is like... I hope he's able to blossom into an amazing NBA player, or at least a competent NBA player, or at least like a serviceable NBA player. But if I'm being genuine about like just objective about what I think, yeah. LeBron James Jr. is to LeBron as like Charlotte Moscato is to Big Mom. That's kind of the realm of what we're talking about here. Yeah. I don't have the highest hopes for Brawny. I really hope Brawny does well, and I hope that he proves everybody wrong. But there's a very strong argument that he would not be an NBA player if his dad's name was not LeBron James, right? Anime Dimension, thanks for bringing Yonko to your member for 19 months. Lilith or Atlas, or both, sacrifice the next chapter to propel Sunny to go into the sea. Oh, I could see Atlas doing that. Lilith or Atlas and / or Atlas sacrifice themselves in some way to I guess I'll just make some way to propel Sunny to the sea. I could see that. We're in kind of a weird situation now where we've got multiple ships that this is riding on, like the Sunny, but also the Giants ship. I don't know. Deshaun the Champ Hampton says Morj privately wishing the worst upon Brawny. I cannot be any more genuine than this. Truly, I really like. I don't believe that we'll ever see like Brawny becoming like an all-star type player necessarily. I don't believe we'll ever see that picture perfect idea of like LeBron and Brawny winning a championship together or something like that next season or even the following season. But I would love for Brawny to be a good enough NBA player that people don't have a reason to hate, you know? Because it's not... I feel like just it's a very complicated life when you're born into a situation like that where there's this way to, like, just living up to your father's name, and then it's almost like most children of athletes are not able to live up to their parents' name in the first place, right? They're not as athletic as their parents. Most don't become professional athletes themselves. The vast majority don't become them, right? Don't become that themselves, right? But it's almost as though with Brawny, because he's good enough to kind of like to legitimately be able to somewhat pursue basketball as a professional sport, it's almost like he's forced to like live in his father's shadow, maybe even more than if he wasn't good at basketball at all, right? If he wasn't good at basketball at all, like maybe Michael Jordan's kids or something, then they ultimately they fade from the public eye. They go on, do something else. They can sort of just mentally carve out a life for them outside of the name of Jordan and being good at basketball, right? Because that door is kind of just shut, right? I mean, that sucks in itself because you're still going to be compared to your parent, but it's almost just like you're so far off from them in the first place that people just stop even holding you to your parents' standard, right? With Bronny Jr., it's just complicated because he's good enough to, in a way, chase his father's shadow or chase his father's footsteps, but nowhere near good enough to actually properly emulate or fill his father's shoes. And that's always just going to hang over him, and it's kind of just like he's in this trajectory that is set out from him from the start. He has the same name as his father. He's going to be playing on the same team. All the scrutiny that falls on LeBron, he's now going to be part of that circle because LeBron is already the most critiqued and hotly debated and picked at athlete in the modern era that I know of. And now he's just going to be part of that circle. And there's nothing, like he could have just chosen not to do basketball, but he has the gift to be able to do it somewhat. So why would he choose not to do it? So it's almost like stupid not to pursue this career. Why wouldn't you want to be an NBA player if you could? But at the same time, you're never going to feel like yourself, like your own identity, because it's never a good feeling to feel like your identity is tied to your parents or to somebody else. You're not your own self. You're basically some sort of companion piece, an object to somebody else's existence. That sort of feeling is very, very, very frustrating, right? It's just got to be very, very frustrating. So I truly hope that he doesn't give people reasons to pick at him, to critique him, like, I hope he's able to blend into his role and just, like, slowly become just an NBA player that's an NBA player, you know, without having the stigma of being LeBron James' son attached to him. It's going to be fucking difficult playing with the Lakers, but, you know, you get with the good with the bad. You get to play on the Lakers. You get to be an NBA player. Like, you get the tangible, materialistic fame, fortune, benefits, things like that. So it's hard to trade up, right? He could really make a stand and be like, Dad, I don't want to be on the same team as you, and I'm sure LeBron would honor that, but then you're probably not in the NBA, son. So he's probably having to make a very difficult decision, you know? Because you can see the video of him, like, reacting to being drafted to the Lakers, and it's a foregone conclusion, you know? No other NBA athlete really like, when you make it, you make it. But with this, it's just like, he doesn't even get that sort of true visceral joy of just like, was I able to make it into this professional sport, right? It's a foregone conclusion. And, you know, he's just living out basically what his parents scripted out for him, which is, I don't know, it's a very interesting sort of storyline, right? It's beautiful in some way, right? Father and son playing together, but has a lot of potential to fuck with him, I think, as things go further down the line. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But I truly hope that he plays well, that he has a good NBA career, that he and LeBron are able to play well together, that their, you know, family dynamic remains good. Because there's a lot of things that could go not well with this. Anyway, long tangent. Sorry if you're not a basketball fan, but I think anybody can be somewhat interested in the storyline of father and son playing together as a professional duo, especially when the father is considered by many to be the greatest player of all time, if not at least the greatest player of the modern era, right? Anyway, continuing on. Leaving that shit behind. Kirby and Hales Jotaro. Always like that name. Thanks for the 7. Sir Morjing him, if there was a live-action One Piece movie, what would you want the plot to be? Also, SBS prediction on stream, maybe. Live-action One Piece movie? I mean, I think just why not adapt the storylines that we've got? Because we've had so much success doing that for the One Piece live-action TV show. Why not just do that? Like, if there was a One Piece live-action movie, maybe adapt Enies Lobby, right? Maybe Water 7 could be could play out in the episode-to-episode series, right, that we've got going, and then make the finale Enies Lobby, that big battle, make that a movie. That's my thought. SBS prediction on stream, maybe. What does that mean, SBS prediction on stream? Also, I'm going to order something just because I'm fucking hungry. SBS prediction on stream. What do you mean by SBS prediction on stream? What is SBS prediction on stream? A stream where viewers predict the SBS. I think that's almost close to impossible, honestly. Because, like, how are we going to... I think it's very difficult. Like, who could... If you want to say viewers predict something about Bonnie or something, like, your predictions would be, hey, maybe the SBS is going to include Bonnie, and that could be cool. But who would have predicted that this SBS would cover, like, Ace, you know? Or this SBS could cover Fujitori's sword. I think that's very difficult to make a stream out of, because it's just gonna be throwing shit at a dartboard. He says, "Is LeBron James a father figure?" Also, let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Sway Shock says IRL Boruto. The thing is that it's not like people are making all these jokes, but it's a very, very unique situation because in these stories like Boruto or like, Ace being Roger's son, Luffy being Dragon's son, etc., the beauty of those stories that people latch onto is the idea of like this father who's so successful and like so successful, good at what they do, etc., and then their son coming in with that same talent, right? This is not that. This is the real world, right? In the real world, it would be too convenient if LeBron James just had another LeBron James as a son. He doesn't. He has a LeBron James Jr., right? Jr. is good enough to be an NBA player, roughly, kinda, right? It's not the same, right? It's not. It's just that's what's so uncomfortable to me to some degree about all this, which is that we have the vision in our heads that movies, shows, stories have fed us for so long of this idea of like the father and the talent passing on to the son, right? And you see that father-son duo, and they're both exceptional, and they both live up to this crazy potential, etc. Maybe the son takes some time to catch up to his father's potential, but he still does it usually at the end. Or maybe he's not quite as good, but he's like almost as good in his own way. This is the real world. This is the NBA, right? You just need to be fucking athletic as fuck, skilled as fuck, better than like all these other dudes, like these cream of the crop other athletes, right? You don't just magically go from a G League roughly level NBA player to being one of the best players in the NBA. It happens super fucking rarely, and I doubt it would happen with Bronny James, because when it does happen, that you got like a G League level player that like really takes their game up a notch, usually it's because they end up getting put in the right circumstances where the game can blossom, etc. Bronny Jr. has been in the ideal basketball setup since he was a child, right? He's going to have grown up with the best trainers, the best diet, nutrition, coaching, all of that, experience, teaching, his father, all of that, right? It is very unlikely that Bronny James becomes a phenomenal NBA player. So it's this uncomfortable real-world scenario where we have this picturesque fairy tale image that fantasy has told us, fiction has told us, of like a father and son duo both being exceptional, son carrying the father's torch, or like son living up to the potential of the father in some way, etc. And that's what we're kind of viewing this whole thing through the lens of. And at the same time, there's this harsh tint that we're kind of trying to like color over, which is reality. And reality is that it's going to be more so a father who's so phenomenally, supremely successful, but also under great scrutiny, and a son who realistically is going to struggle to keep up and just remain in the game, period. And there is going to be a constant, never-ending stream of questions and discussion topics over and over on TV, YouTube talk shows, etc., blah, 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 blah. Like, should this kid be in the NBA? Is he good enough? Does he deserve it? Right? Blah, 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 blah. Just, like, picking at his existence. And that's going to be uncomfortable over a long period of time, It is what it is, but it is what it is. Anyway, sorry to go off on NBA drama, but again, Opus Real says, Morj, are we still getting Wano analysis before end of Egghead? Yeah, I believe that we can. I've got we've got a break week. I got a lot of time to actually write on Friday, so I believe that we could do Wano analysis before the end of Egghead. I think if Egghead ends in like 1-2 chapters, then maybe I'm wrong on it. But I think we've still got a moment to go with Egghead, so yeah. Sorry, I was ordering some shit. Let me see here. 1 second here. Brandon King, thanks for the 2. Skypea or NL reactions to Vegapunk next chapter? I am so fucking sorry, Brandon King. Fuck, maybe you couldn't see that. I'm sorry if I was hiding this, but we can't include reaction shots. It's too simple. Do you want to throw in another prediction for free? Just throw in another prediction. I'll just catch it when you say it. Rayo Chia, thanks for the 10. Not a prediction for next chapter, but maybe at the end of Egghead, it is revealed that Vegapunk cloned himself, not a satellite, and we see him continuing his work in secret. I do like the idea of Vegapunk potentially continuing on, because I do think it's very, very, very possible, Because just from even just seeing his brain in the vat, it's very possible that Vegapunk, like the true original personality of his, is intact in some way that we will get to see some point. Just the stuff that's been played around with this arc of the idea of like, consciousness, transposing consciousness, things like that, it does open up that possibility quite a bit. I would also say that one thing that was always really interesting to me was that in this, we were shown. So we've never actually met Vegapunk, like the true Vegapunk. You know, we've never actually met the true Vegapunk because the true Vegapunk is in like chapter, I feel like around here, right? It's somewhere. Where do we get the little flashback, right? What chapter do we get the flashback? We get the flashback somewhere here. Yeah, this is the true Vegapunk. And this is a somewhat different personality than what we see today. The Vegapunk today feels more positive, uplifting, kind of up, like there's sort of like a more childlike, carefree, fun attitude to him in a sense. This Vegapunk is a bit more, it feels like a bit more cynical, a bit darker, cynical in perspective, a bit more sharp in his speech and mannerisms. He's not, there's something different, right? And this was before, as we understand, Vegapunk split up all of his personalities. I'm curious because it seems like we never truly met the real Vegapunk, right? Like he's a bit sharper in his tone and style of speech. Don't be stupid. What will my intellect and expertise achieve with an impoverished military force like yours? It just seems like he's a bit more of a realist, whereas the Vegapunk that we see today is a bit more of, like honestly, even the chapter that I just saw, like the Vegapunk that we meet today is a bit more, of a dreamer in a sense, right? He seems like a bit more of a dreamer. I don't know. I think that's interesting. I wonder if we're supposed to view it as like, well, that old personality Vegapunk, that's just what he used to be like, or if it's kind of like, well, the true Vegapunk personality is something that we'll never see because it all got split up. See, this persona of Vegapunk, the attitude that he has, right, which is again very romantic and dreamlike, it's not what he exuded back during the Ohara incident. Maybe that's because that was in the wake of tragedy. Maybe it's just, I don't know how Oda felt the tone felt for that scene, but it just seems as though these are somewhat different personalities, right? And again, Stella is a cut-up version of Vegapunk's personality, but I wonder if we will never get to truly see the full merging of Vegapunk's personalities and understand what he's like today, Because this is an older version of Vegapunk, so usually people become like a little less upbeat and maybe a bit more cynical and, realistic in their attitude as they get older, but Vegapunk here is much more vibrant, more expressive, etc. So I'm curious how much of that is just the tone post-Ohara tragedy, or this just being a consequence of Vegapunk having split up many facets of who he is into other people, and we've never really gotten to see in the modern day all of those fit back together. Let's get the stream likes up to 200 real quick. Jay, thanks for the 5. My personal prediction is by the time the next chapter drops, you're still going to be a cutie patootie. Oh, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Also, I might have gotten more tan. Does anyone feel like I got more tan from, I was on the beach a couple days in the last couple days, Might be a bit more tan now. I'm not sure. Arus Soma says, could he not have aged? Yeah, of course, like part of this could just be aging and him kind of being more positive and, dreamer oriented in his older age, but usually we see that the reverse, where like people might be more upbeat and childlike in their younger years, and then in their older years that's more subdued. With Vegapunk we get kind of the reverse, so I think that's interesting. Fidu says that personality is inside Shaka now. That's very possible, and Shaka might have been the most predominant of his personalities at the time. Yeah. Daniel says, yeah, there's no good example of a generational talent having a child who met that bar. I think in sports that's never happened. I think in other areas, I would have to think. I feel like in the arts, something like that has happened. I think Sebastian Bach's child might have actually even been more popular than his father during their time. It's just that Bach, over the years, like posthumously, gained more recognition for his work than his son, just because more influential in the long term. But I think it's possible that for their time, Bach's son might have been a bit more influential or popular. I think like there's examples in the arts, I think, to some degree. There's examples in the arts. I'd have to rack my brain a bit to think of all of them, and probably do some research. But I do believe that that's happened. I think especially in like music, painting, things like that. But in sports, it's just not really a thing too often. I remember some people were telling me that it happened in baseball at some point, but it's just very, very, very rare. Okay, Brandon King's new submission is Gorsey takes York with them next chapter. All right. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think music it's more likely. Politics it's sketchy because it's like how much do you even view politics as a talent versus just right place, right time, right connections. I mean that is a talent in and of itself, like to build your way up. But I think with politics, it's kind of like it almost become you just dynasties just naturally occur because people like voting like George Bush, George W. Bush. Just a common name. You're put in the same circles, etc. I don't really count politics in that sense. You could say the same works for the arts, but I think in the arts at least the merit matters more than politics, right? Where if your music's not good, then ultimately or your art's just not good, then it's just less likely that you succeed. Again, still subjective because you can have artists, musicians, etc., who are not that good, who can still succeed just through getting pushed in the right ways. But sports is the one place that it just doesn't happen because out of all the avenues of entertainment, sports is the one that is most merit based, right? You are either like it's not subjective, it's objective, right? You win, you lose. You can carry your team to victories, you can't, right? Like you are benefiting the team, you're not. Yeah, Rohan says in baseball. Yeah, in baseball, there's the Bonds father and son. There's also the Griffey father and son. Yeah, I hadn't heard about the Griffey thing, but it sounds like in baseball, it's the one place that it's happened more frequently. Sports, obviously, there are cases when there's father sons. Like it does happen. It's just more rare, right? And it's very rare in sport. I can't think of a sport where both the father and the son are exceptional at what they do, right? There's like we have plenty of times in like basketball, like Steph Curry, Del Curry, right? Like two basketball players can make it to the NBA, but I don't think there's ever been a time that I know of that like you've had two all-time great players that are father and son. Again, I don't know the Griffey thing though. King G, thanks for the two. Zoro forces Nishijuro to retreat next chapter. That is a very bold suggestion that Zoro is basically overpowers Agorase, but we're going to put it down. Zoro forces Venus Juro to retreat. OG3 says NFL has had some low key ones, like a star player having a star kid, but it's not like generational father, generational kid. Yeah, it's hard to be generational twice. It's so funny because in anime it's the opposite, right? If you come from a powerful parent, you're almost guaranteed to be really strong yourself, right? It's more likely than not. Like if like in Naruto, every parent that's strong has a strong kid to some degree, right? Naruto comes from a whole fucking lineage of really strong characters, right? Well, no, not really. It's just Minato. I don't know if Minato's dad was strong. It is still fairly frequent, right? Was Queen Elizabeth a generational talent? Leonardo Martin says, Morj, when do you think Kuma visited Amazon Lily? That's a really good question. He might have dropped in for a moment and then been like, yeah, they don't like me here, and then left. I still think it's interesting he sent Luffy to Amazon Lily, but, I think it might have been because Rayleigh was there more, like, really frequently inhabited it. Kurakami Najimi says, unless you're son/daughter of Big Meme. I mean, with Big Mom, even then, it still kind of applies because like Katakuri is exceptional. It's just that a lot of the good juice was used up with her first several kids. Like Katakuri is really strong, and then Perospero, Oven, and Daifuku are all they're relatively strong by New World standards. They're not like Yonko Commander level, but they're relatively strong. And then after that, it became more of a crapshoot. Like the more I think with Big Mom, it started off with like quality that fit, that made sense, and then as she kept going, just the quantity sort of nerfed the quality, so it became more of a crapshoot, like how strong a kid turned out to be. Like you get Cracker after like dozen or so kids, then Smoothie, but she started hot with Katakuri. OG3 says Sakura might be the strongest character with no crazy bloodlines. Is Sakura stronger than Minato? I know Sakura becomes really strong at the end. Minato with no Ninetales chakra. Akash Panda says good juice. Yeah, I said what I said. OG3 says Morj says Big Mom ran low on that super soldier sperm. Yeah, pretty much. Desmond video discussion says I saved Minato. He wasn't part of any crazy bloodline, but he did start one. I know people are gonna say that Minato's stronger than Sakura. Minato's just a cool character. People will say that Minato's stronger than Sakura just because people don't like Sakura. But I'm asking like genuinely, I don't remember. Was Sakura at the end of the story portrayed to have surpassed like someone like Minato? I don't know. Like my bias is obviously gonna be Minato. Minato's low-key my favorite character from Naruto, just because I was never really attached to any particular character in Naruto. So it kind of just became more so like who's got the coolest ability and general vibe rather than any sort of like deeper character reasons, and that was Minato for me. Leo Recto, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 14 months. Good evening, as always, Mr. Morj. I strongly agree with the Hanafuda headcanon, and my prediction is that Venus Jura will have a flashback about Ryuma while facing Zoro. Oh, that's a good guess. That's a very good guess, because Venus Jura was, like, they're acknowledging each other in the moment, and Kitetsu Blades and everything like that, and Venus Jura very well could have been around during Ryuma's time. I would love to see that. This is from Leo Recto. I like that a lot. Brandon King says, how did Big Mom mate with a Tentata to give birth to the Tentata child? I think that's easier. I think usually it's going to be harder the other way, where I think when the male is giant and the female isn't giant, that's when you're like, well, how did they really make this happen? When the female is huge and the male is small, it makes sense. It's just like the Tentata had like some really strong sperm to make its way down that cavern, basically, right? But it makes sense. But like giant male to small female, it's just like, how did they? I think the male would literally have to ejaculate, like jack off, not jack off, like get off somehow. Like the male would have to, like, because you just physically can't enter, right? It's too big. So she would have to literally like take sperm and like it would be kind of gross. Both ways, it's gross. But tiny male, large female, they could at least still physically do it. Whereas giant male, small female, it's like it just becomes physically not doable anymore, and you just need to get the sperm into the vagina somehow, right? So there's no penetration happening at that point, right? Giant male, small female means no penetration, but you could still conceivably do it. It's just no penetration's happening, right? It's kind of a manual sort of like it's manual, right? Tiny Tentata, Big Mom, it works still. It still works. Savage J says, Minato the Yellow Flash, what are we even talking about? You think Sakura is stronger than all the Hokage? Not all the Hokage, but I'm just like, is she stronger than like Minato? Maybe. My assumption is no, but I just know that at the end of the story, Sakura gets like her own boosts and power-ups or something like that, right? So she's a big deal at the end of the story too. So I don't know how strong Sakura is. I'm asking genuinely, right? Is she stronger than Tsunade at the end? Tsunade was a Hokage. Alexander says, I think end of story Sakura is probably stronger in raw power than Minato without the QB chakra, but would still lose in a fight. But honestly, arguable, I think. I don't know. I don't know enough. New X7 expanding. Thanks for the 5. Personally, I don't think Sakura is portrayed as being stronger than Minato, but she's obviously stronger than Tsunade and Kakashi by the end. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think it's a crazy question, because I'm just like, is Sakura supposed to be stronger than Tsunade at the end? Because if she is, then you've got a discussion going, right? My assumption would still be Minato's above her, but I know that a lot of people complain that Sakura just randomly got really strong at the end, so I'm kind of trying to remember what that means. Because I know she was part of the three-way fight. I remember she got her hits in at the end against Kaguya. I remember she said some cringe-ass she said one of the cringiest lines in all of Naruto, a series rife with cringe lines. And she said something like she's fighting the world-ending threat Kaguya. It's the fucking apocalypse, right? It's the entire world is gonna die. This is the evil devil woman, devil demonic being that is basically gonna end all existence as they know it and turn everyone into vegetables, essentially, right? It's the final fucking battle. They're all fighting for lives, and she's yelling as a woman, and you're a woman, I don't agree, something I don't agree with what you're don't underestimate me or some shit. I forget. It was just what does you being a girl have to do with this at all, right? What is this? What is going on? It was as though Kishimoto's all of his accusations of being a bad writer of female characters encapsulated in this one moment where he seemed to try hard to have a good girl power moment or something, but it came across really fucking stupid in the moment. Rohan, thanks a lot for the 2, and thanks a lot for your first super ever. Clearly, in vitro fertilization is a thing in One Piece. I guess so, man. I guess so. I mean, people are well, why didn't Whitebeard have any, natural kids? It's dude, who's he supposed to fuck? Big Mom? He didn't want any of that, right? We know that Bakin was all over Whitebeard, but what are you gonna, what does Bakin think is gonna happen right here? Whitebeard, she spends one night with Whitebeard, and she's literally physically split in half and dies? I don't know what they're thinking here, right? Kaido, he has a child, but, he's, it seems likely that he had a child with an Oni, and that kind of makes sense. There was some panel of, where it seemed implied that Black Maria was kind of seducing, Kaido and Black Maria were getting the party started, and she's, all over Kaido, from what I remember, right? And I'm that makes sense, Kaido and Black Maria. But, what's Whitebeard? Whitebeard's nurses, you stack up 10 of Whitebeard's nurses, and that's the equivalent size of, height of Whitebeard, How's Whitebeard supposed to have a kid? Akash Panda says, why not? Big Mom is beautiful. I think that Whitebeard thinks about things more than just beauty. I don't think he's that shallow. Because Big Mom is also fucking insane and a terrible person. Bitey McGar says, Bakin was willing to risk it all, bro. Yeah, there's that species of spider where, when they mate, the female spider kills them. But the joke is doesn't matter, had sex. I feel that's how Bakin thought about Whitebeard. Adam CR, thanks for the 2. Atlas dies. Frankie claps Lilith, makes Vegapunk baby. Do I have to put this up? We've got space, so I'll put it up, but ordinarily I would not entertain this. Adam CR, you're saying Atlas dies. I'll put that down. Atlas dies. Again, if Anime Dimension gets it correct and Atlas specifically sacrifices himself in some way to propel the Sunny to the sea, then you do not get credit for this. Anime Dimension does, as per the rules. JWP coming in as usual to gift a membership, as is customary by JWP. Thank you so much for continuing to bless the chat with this and gifting again. Prince Germa and Bitey McGar say thanks to JWP. Again, thank you so much, man. You're like the Santa Claus of this stream. Just regularly coming through with this sort of thing. Thank you, seriously. Appreciate it. And the people in the chat always appreciate when you come through and just give some memberships here and there. Yvette Noemi says, I don't want Atlas to die. That's actually so funny, because in my mind I was there's not a single person on the planet who would ever give a shit if someone like Atlas or Edison died. But here we are. Never mind. In my mind, I'm these are the most disposable fake characters that we've ever had in One Piece, and that's why it's perfect for an arc where Oda wants to kill off some characters, but not really kill off too many characters, Akash Panda says Neptune and Otohime. Well, we don't know how those mermaid. We don't know how their anatomy works. Odin and Toki, Roger and Rouge. Yeah, Odin and Toki, Roger and Rouge. I figured those are like the upper end of things, but like, how do I explain this? Odin to Whitebeard is the same as like Toki to Odin. And like Rouge to Roger is the same as Roger to Whitebeard in terms of size scaling, right? So it's kind of like, okay, if Oda really wants to stretch, like how tall is Roger? What's Gold Roger's height? Anyone know? What's Gold Roger's height? And don't tell me in fucking centimeters. Tell me in goddamn feet and inches like a normal ass fucking person. Nobody knows what centimeters are. What's Roger's height? Like 10 feet or some shit? Like, one thing I'll just point out. I remember this little panel. Yeah, let me do in color. Look at this. Also, this dude always cracks me up. This guy over here. Citizen, thanks for the 2, and thanks for your first super ever. Zoro's group coup de burst to where Luffy is. Zoro's group coup de burst to where Luffy is. Again, I'm like sketched out on where exactly everybody is, but that makes sense. Zoro's group. Oops, this is from Citizen. I could definitely see that. That makes the most sense. That's actually a very, very simple and like clean theory that just makes perfect sense. It's so simple and clean. It just makes sense. It's like they got to get over there. Luckily, the Sunny has a convenient way of getting over there. It just makes sense. I like that. Somebody said 2.5 meters. Fuck you, Manuel Andrade. That's worse than centimeters. 9 feet? Yeah, he's 9 feet. Like, it's like, that's fucking tall. But if you really want to stretch your imaginations, it's like, okay, a 9 foot tall person. We've had people in real life who are like 8 feet tall, you know? And I imagine, are they able to have sex? Can Yao Ming fuck? Can anybody tell me? Does Yao Ming have children? Can anyone look that up? Somebody tell me this. Does Yao Ming have children? This is important. Does Yao Ming have children? I know there's some new college athlete who's like, who's that? There's some new college kid who's like 7 something, right? 7'6" or something. JWP, thanks for the 5. He's 9 feet tall. Whitebeard is 21 feet tall. Yeah, see, there's a big difference between like Whitebeard fucking and Roger fucking. And Big Mom is 28 feet tall. Also, Oda needs to explain what makes a blade supreme and what a black blade is. Oda does. I 100% agree that Oda needs to explain those things. I've always figured that supreme blade is just the quality of the blade. Because a lot of people are talking about like, well, why isn't Enma does all this magic shit? Why is it not a supreme blade, right? I figure it's more so that goes to the quality of the metal, I figure. I'm just assuming it goes more to the quality of the metal. So Enma is not quite, I guess, I don't know, quite there. I don't know why, but it doesn't account for the fact that, you know, Enma having its magic properties, whatever you want to call it, its special property of drawing out one's haki, that doesn't go to the quality of the metal, right? That's its own specific attribute. It's kind of like the Katetsu blades are cursed, right? That doesn't make them better steel than not cursed blades. It's just a specific attribute that they have, right? So that's my headcanon assumption. Now, making a black blade, I personally think that that's very, very possibly something that Oda came up with later down the line. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about the black blade thing. It's just hard to say because it's like, unless you think Mihawk is just stronger than Roger, stronger than Whitebeard, stronger than like all these characters, right? Forget Shanks, right? Stronger than Roger, stronger than Whitebeard. Unless you think Mihawk is stronger than those characters, and it's just like Mihawk, Ryuma, they're like the top 2, which I don't personally think, then it means that having a black blade isn't inherently like everything. It has something more to do with one's connection to their blade or something like that, rather than just overall who's stronger. I don't know. Yao Ming's wife is like 6'5". Okay, this makes sense. That makes more sense. Manute Bol has children and he's 7'6". Okay, so why can't Roger have kids? Roger could have kids. That makes sense. College kid going to Florida is 7'9". Can he have sex? Is that on the table for him? Can he do that? Silver King says Rayleigh is actually not absurdly tall either. That always threw me when we found. So people don't remember this, but for a long ass time, we didn't know that Roger was really tall. He was not depicted as really, really tall for a long ass time, right? For a long time, we never even saw Roger really physically stacked up next to other people. We kind of saw him in shots with Rayleigh, but it never really seemed like he's way taller than Rayleigh. Then at some point, Oda just reveals like, yeah, Roger's like 9 feet tall. We're like, what? We always assumed that he was a normal-sized person, maybe like a Shanks or a Rayleigh or something like that, right? No, he's 9 feet tall. All right, Roger's 9 feet tall. And then I think like people started drawing like, wait, so Roger's just way taller than Rayleigh, and it just seemed kind of comical because it always felt like those two are supposed to be kind of similar in height. It just seems a little ridiculous that Roger and then his first mate's just like this little short dude that he talks down to. It doesn't feel like that Luffy-Zoro dynamic, or even, like really talking to Roger at the bar and being like, their final parting words to each other. That's not a thing anymore. Or no, it is a thing, but it never felt like Roger's this really tall, towering dude, and it's like he's talking down to Gaimon or some shit, Akash Panda makes a good point. Literally on the first page of the manga, Roger is kneeling. He is huge. That's true. I think what I'm saying more so is that it wasn't. No, people didn't have this vision of Roger being like super tall early on in the story. That was like a newer realization. Because, you can take this panel however you want to take it. I don't know how specific Oda was being with heights. This could be more so due to framing, right? When Oda dropped the reveal that Roger was really tall, that did blow people's minds at the time. It was like, wait, what? That seems a little weird. We kind of assumed that he was Rayleigh's height. King G, thanks for the 5. A great grade blade won't be as useful as a supreme grade blade to a top tier hockey user, and a black blade in the user. And a black blade is the user and the blade's will connecting. I could see that. Like, I could see like a deep, deep connection to the blade resulting in a black blade, right? I could really see that being the case. I don't think it's just like I don't think it's just like Mihawk has a black blade whereas Roger doesn't, therefore Mihawk is stronger than Roger. I do think that Mihawk and Zoro are particularly sword-obsessed characters and therefore more likely to develop a black blade, personally. I also agree with what you said initially that, a stronger tool will help a stronger swordsman, so a great grade blade won't be as useful as a supreme grade blade, etc. But I personally don't think that there's ever been a One Piece fight where it's been implied that the blades themselves are the make or break as to why a character wins or loses, Akash Panda with a good point. Roger talking to Rayleigh scene is made up by the anime. In the manga, we only see his face. True. K Maya says, Kiku is way taller than Izzo, but they look the same size in some panels. Oda's just wacky with the height scaling. Yeah, Oda is pretty wacky with the height scaling. It's just kind of... Jovente Santiago, so let's be honest, Oda is horrible with height consistency. Yeah, I remember like leading up to the leading up to did I miss something? Did I miss my order? Leading up to we're gonna have to call the stream in about 5-ish minutes. One sec. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes for the stream. So any last predictions, just get them in now. I remember leading up to Wano, a lot of people in their depictions viewed Big Mom as being much taller than Kaido because that was just kind of the scaling that we got so far. And then once we got to Wano, over time we began to realize that no, they're supposed to be about the same height. But initially it seemed as though Big Mom was supposed to be way, way, way taller than Kaido. Tom says, Morj, look up the picture of Shaq next to Sabone Billis. Let me see. Oh my god, this is insane. What the hell? No, holy shit. Oh my god. That is that's an interesting height difference. How tall is Simone Billis? I guess I can look up. She's 4'8". Yeah, gymnasts, I guess, really need to be that exact height. Or like around that height, and that's really, really good for them. Kosh Panda says, yeah, Kiku and Izu has no defense. Ender Anami says, no way people are arguing that Oda foreshadowed Roger being 9 feet tall, LMAO. I don't even know what that means, Oda foreshadowed. Oh, I guess the chapter 1 thing. She's wearing heels? Holy shit. Is Billis not the correct pronunciation? I don't even care. I don't know. You all know I'm not good at pronunciation. I just read it like it seems. I read it as it seems. It's supposed to be Biles. Biles doesn't seem that correct. Doesn't seem correct. Truckun says, Morj prediction, Emu will start to use the Uranus and Mother Flame and Egghead. I think we've already got that. Hio, thanks for the 10. Theory that a black blade was made by imbuing someone else's will into the blade. So for Mihawk, probably someone related to his... Oh, wait, whoa. Imbuing someone else's will into the blade. That's a really cool idea. So for Mihawk, probably someone related to his Marine backstory. Because I remember he hates the Marines for a reason or something. Ryuma and Wano. So Zoro will imbue Queen House will into the blade. That's so cool. However, there's one thought I've always had, which is that I feel like it feels right to me that Zoro has 3 black blades at the end rather than just 1. I guess it would be cool aesthetic if just Wado Ichimonji is black and then the other 2 are white. But I love the idea that he's just got 3 black blades. Like, it feels cool, right? Like, it fits the King of Hell sort of aesthetic, right? Like the 3 black hockey blades. I don't know. Tom says Oda foreskin this. That's funny. All right. 1 second. Okay, I think I basically got to wrap it up right about now. No, I guess not. Yeah, it's pretty much happening. All right. Any last predictions? Going once, going twice. We've got some interesting ones. I think that so we do the prediction streams. Sometimes I think it's a lot of dicey predictions. Here, I think there's a lot of predictions that actually could be correct. So we could have a lot of winners next week. So just as a reminder, the winners will all be shouted out next week. I'm going to kind of make the call which I think was the best or most specific prediction or what seems the most important in next chapter, and that person's the winner. But there's a lot of stuff that I think could be possible, like Vegapunk saying name, we finding out more about Emit, Joy Boy flashback, Emit self-destructing. There's a lot of really, really good possibilities here. Like, I really like Jimmy's, by the way. I think Jimmy seems like a lot of fun to me, so I've got a personal bias towards that. All right, sure. Hold on. Yeah, I think my order's here. Hey, are you downstairs? Yes. Okay, I'm coming. Thank you very much. All right, bye. JWP, thanks for the 10, and I'm going to close stream on this. Oda is inconsistent with size in general, just based on the size of the ship, plus size of islands, plus size of the Grand Line, plus time. Oh, so literally everything. So you can go micro to macro, the full scale. Ship size, I agree, inconsistent. Size of islands, I agree, very inconsistent. Because, like, Wano, like, I remember it was a crazy moment in Wano where, like, they just ran, like Hiyori, Zoro, and then they just fucking ran from what do you call like one corner of the map to the flower capital in like 30 minutes, and then at other points it's established to take like fucking a full day and a night to travel from one to another, like while riding something. It's just kind of what's convenient, because Oda has so much moving parts, both like visually what's going on that it's hard to draw things to scale, and then like plot wise he just has to pace out the travel time from place A to place B differently depending on what's convenient at moments, and he doesn't have the whole thing mapped out, so sometimes things can be kind of like wacky. Size of Grand Line, time spent in between islands. Yeah, there's sometimes that the sailing takes a minute, sometimes sailing back the same way takes forever. The Straughts would have to be sailing at like hundreds of miles per hour, in my opinion. Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, the Sunny's a fast ship. It's made by the best shipwright in the world, so we will take that into account. But yeah, got a lot of good theories. Let's see who's right next chapter, and everybody who wins will be shouted out. You'll be added to the running list of past winners and predictions, and obviously the winner, the best winner, best prediction gets made mod. All right, guys.